Properly graded field is not only important for player safety but also the field's health, and no company in the state matches the exceptional service and dedication like our friends at Athletic Field Service of Arkansas and Sherwood. From servicing all types of natural grass athletic fields that includes aerating, top dressing, and phrase mowing to a variety of residential projects, Jeremy Rice and his crew have you covered. They also offer an extensive list of infield renovation services. Call Jeremy at 501-416-1218. That's 501-416-1218 for your free evaluation, and check them out on Facebook or see what they have to offer online by visiting afsofar.com. Athletic Field Service of Arkansas, we got the dirt on your infield.
It's not just a house, it's a home, and it's part of the neighborhood and of course part of the community, and you want to build stuff that they'll take pride in.
Well, that's where they're making their memories.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where they're raising their families.
Without the bank getting us to that next step, we can't do it.
It's nice to be able to call someone at the bank and say, hey, you've worked with us for all these years. This is what we're thinking about doing. Can we pull the trigger on this today? Oh my stars. It is just so much easier to bank with First Community.
I started Arkansas Prep Sports in 2015. Saw a little niche where, there were student athletes in the state of Arkansas that needed to get that promotion to try to get to the next level. In fall of 2017, I had someone by the name of Kevin Miller just reach out to me out of the blue. We instantly hit it off. Kevin had just started his sports media company, BM Sports Report. The BM stands for Big Miller, if people didn't realize that. That's the reason that we call the Big Miller Media Days. This was Kevin's idea. Kevin saw what other states were doing in the high school sports world with media days. It was just an extra opportunity to promote teams, coaches, and players in front of a statewide audience. Kevin and I hit off right off the bat. We spoke on the phone at the beginning in the first few years, a few times a week. Then it was every day. Then sometimes multiple times a day. As a matter of fact, when my phone would ring, my wife would say, "There's your boyfriend calling you." Kevin and I went on multiple road trips. We ate at Popeye's Chicken all the time. I missed those road trips with Kevin when I would look over and he'd be asleep about 30 minutes into the trip and snoring, and miss those greatly. A lot of the ideas that we do in the high school sports world were Kevin's ideas. A lot of people have kind of started to mimic a lot of the things that we do. Kevin was the reason that I was able to meet and work with a lot of people in the high school sports world, such as Nigel Wright from COE Films and Nick Winger and Kyle Sutherland and people at Natural State Sports, amongst lots of other people that I've met. Kevin wanted his sole purpose. He just wanted to promote Arkansas high school sports athletes. We all miss him. He left a huge hole in the high school sports media world that we are all trying to fill. And it takes a lot of us to fill one role by one man. And Kevin wasn't just one man. Kevin had a great family that he left behind. His wife, he has a son and a daughter. We in the high school sports media world started a trust fund for his family. I would invite anyone at any time to drop by any First Community Bank and donate any amount of money, whether that's $1 or $50, to the BM Family Trust. And Kevin's wife hasn't used that money yet, but her goal is to use that money to help send her kids to college. I miss talking to Kevin. We all miss talking to Kevin. If you knew Kevin, he made you feel like you were his best friend. When in reality, he had 20 or 30 best friends across the state. I miss talking to him on a daily basis. Things will happen in the sports world, and I will still almost grab my phone so I can call him and talk to him. He took on my daughter Sophia during her basketball days. He called her his niece. He came to her AAU tournaments. He came to her high school games. He promoted her. He called schools trying to get her college offers. We all miss him greatly. He was a great friend. He was part of the family. And as everything we try to do now, these media days, which were his idea, we do them to honor and in memory of Kevin. So welcome to the Big Miller Arkansas High School Media Days. We're going to have one day of girls volleyball, followed by 3 days of high school football. We hope you enjoy them as much as we enjoy putting them on. Thank you.
All right, we're going to get session 2 started just a couple minutes early. We will have the Ozark Hillbillies led by first-year head coach Josh Watson. And, Coach, I will go ahead and toss it over to you to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank y'all for doing this for high school athletics. It's an exciting time to be an Ozark Hillbilly. Things have been going great. Today I brought with me 4 seniors who have been a great example for what we are as Ozark football since I've been there. When I got there after spring break. I'll start over here to the right. That is Colton Rawson. He is a senior wide receiver and corner. Beside him and his brother, Caden Rawson, he's a senior linebacker and running back. Over here to my left is Blaine Childers. He is a senior nose guard and fullback, running back, tight end, a little bit of everything on offense. And then last one over there is Evan Estep. He is a senior cornerback and wide receiver.
I guess, Coach, we can kind of start with you, I guess. I mean, obviously made a big decision this offseason. Won state title at Salem, moving over to Ozark. Can you kind of, take us through that decision a little bit, what the first few months at Ozark's been like?
Yeah, it was a tough decision, but being able to take over a program like Ozark is not something you get to do every day. My wife's family's from Van Buren. My mother-in-law lives just north of Van Buren, so it's a big deal to get my kids close to grandparents. And have the opportunity to take over a program with the tradition that Ozark has. So it's been a change going into a new program, getting them to understand what the expectations are and the level of work ethic that it takes to win ball games. But it's been a great transition. The kids have bought in, the seniors have bought in, and typically that's the hardest group to get to buy in. But I feel like this senior group is hungry to win. Coming off the season they had last year, they really want to rebound.
I guess for the players, if we want to start over here on the left and go over, what are the things that you've kind of seen change around the program and practices and workouts that, different, new, whatever from years past?
Our energy has been skyrocketed this year compared to last year, and then last year, our team wasn't really held accountable, like us holding each other accountable, and our chemistry was off. But this year, it's been 10 times better, and I really think that this year we are going to have a big shot.
I mean, kind of just to go along with what he said, our chemistry is definitely much better. I mean, last year we all wanted to blame each other instead of getting our own faults, and we've really come together now. And we've all learned to take accountability for our actions, and it's just been a lot better chemistry as far as that goes.
I agree. We've been wanting to put the work in the weight room, and it shows in the team camps, and we just have higher energy than we usually have.
Yeah, to add on to everything they said, just everyone's held each other a lot more accountable, a lot more attendance rate at practice, and everyone's definitely giving in a lot more than they did last year and enjoying it a lot more. And just all around, the energy's been great.
And, Coach, last year, I mean, players just touched on it basically. It wasn't up to standards. Coach Burns had the program in good standing, but just last year certainly wasn't up to Ozark standards. But looking at what you run, the offense you ran, loved watching that at Salem. Will we see some of it, without giving away too much of the playbook, will we see some of that at Ozark?
Oh, yeah.
More spread, or how do you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, well, just like Salem, people think he doesn't throw the football or we don't throw the football. We threw for 1,300 yards last year. We were in empty probably 10 times in the state championship game. So, we are sort of merging both. You're going to see the dead T, you're going to see the I formation, you're going to see Maryland I, but you're also going to see quads. You're going to see empty and trips and, all that stuff, a lot of unbalanced stuff. But, Yeah, we're just merging a little bit of it all. We got the kids to be a power run team, but we also have the kids that can throw it around a little bit. So it's a great situation to be able to merge those two things. The kids have really done a good job with it so far. You know, I think they like getting in the dead tee and playing a little smash mouth football, because I know Ozark back in the day was sort of a wishbone type team, which is very similar to the dead tee. So it has been done at Ozark in the past, and I think everybody in the community knows that Ozark can win playing a little smash mouth football.
I know you've had, of course, Colby's, what was it? Will Banks.
Will Banks.
Yeah, that's the name slipped my mind for a second. He's gone, had a great career there, and now you've had a quarterback competition there throughout the spring. Kind of how has that been coming along?
Well, it's still a competition. The two kids do a great job pushing each other, encouraging each other. There's no animosity towards one another with that. Cade Cap is a guy who got thrown into a position last year that, you know, he realized as a sophomore he wasn't quite ready for varsity football. And so it really drove him this offseason to get better, to get stronger, to work hard. And there's a big difference in his game from last year to this year. John Skolarski is a kid moving up from junior high team that went 9-1. I believe they won the conference championship. And John is an unbelievable athlete. I mean, you can put him anywhere on the field and he can make a play. So we're going to play both those guys back there. You know, we're going to work a two-quarterback system. They have their own strengths, you know, that's a couple of them are better at than another. But, you know, it's going to be very good to have two guys out there. You know, when one of them's not a quarterback, he's probably going to be at running back or slot receiver. You know, they're both going to be on the field. And so that gives us some options offensively.
So you're going from your previous job to now, you're going up one classification.
Mm-hmm.
And 3A, I've said it, I've written it, and I've said it, I don't know how many times. I mean, it is probably per capita the biggest gauntlet when you think about like great second round matchups, even first round. And the run that you guys had, I mean, the slates you had to go through to get to the state championship. I say all that to say, in your years at Salem playing against that gauntlet that is 3A, how did that really propel your coaching career?
Well, I mean, you see a little bit of everything, and you learn from it. You make mistakes, you learn. But I believe most of all, you challenge yourself, and that's what we did with our non-conference schedule there for, you know, last year. And I think it allowed us to make that playoff run. Well, at Ozark, it's very similar. You have a tough non-conference schedule. I mean, I know you're playing the 3A school in Boonville, but Boonville's a state championship contender every single year. Charleston, another 3A school, big rivalry game. Boonville and Charleston are. You know, they're another 3A state title contender just about every year, at least top 10 in 3A every single year. Very well coached, very good. So, you know, it makes you step your game up as a coach when you challenge yourself, but it also allows makes your kids step their game up when you, create challenges for them. And that's what the non-conference schedule does at Ozark.
I'm not trying to get too far ahead here, but you look at especially the back half of your conference schedule this year and what those teams did. Dardanelle's coming in, like consensus number one, or at least one by some polls. Are you at least glad? And again, I'm not trying to discredit any other schools, but just knowing what they did last year, by that time, once you get to that slate, you should kind of know what you have.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's nice to have get a little while to work out some kinks, because it's all new. The defense is new. The offense is somewhat new. Like I said, we've merged them. So it'll be nice to have the end of the season, have a tough schedule. Dardanelle, Clinton, those are two teams that are very, very good. And this conference is very good. Mina's well coached, extremely good team. I know they lost some guys, but still, they're well coached. They're going to give you a fight every Friday night. Lamar's very good. So you got to battle every single week in this conference for the most part. And it's going to be a challenge, and that's what the kids got to realize. You got to come and compete every single week, just like we talk to them about every day during the summer. We challenge them Monday through Thursday. We try to push them a little bit, a little adversity through the all-season program. The weight room doesn't have air conditioning. I love that. These guys, you can ask them, it's hot and it's brutal in there, but it's preparing us for the fourth quarter against Boonville. It's preparing us for the fourth quarter against Charleston. It's preparing us for the fourth quarter against Clinton and Dardanelle, because those are going to be battles that you have to win in the fourth quarter. And so our off-season program is extremely hard. I push the kids, but that's what it's about. Life's hard, so we're going to make football hard so they learn from it.
I want to get everybody's take on this, because the Hillbilly is just such a unique mascot, not just for the state of Arkansas, but nationally. I mean, Marty and McGee have it. I know if they don't have it on their set still, they did at one point on their ESPN show. But talk about just the uniqueness, and we'll start from the right. The uniqueness of that mascot, but also too the pride that you guys have in wearing it.
I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, you see schools with bulldogs and bearcats and all this stuff, but you don't really see a school with a hillbilly. So, I mean, it's pretty unique, and yeah, it's just pretty cool.
I mean, it comes with a lot of pride and tradition behind it, and it makes you just want to live up to it and really just make the town proud and hope you can succeed for them.
Yeah, there's not very many other hillbillies. I don't know if there is anymore. But I think we just got to live up to the name and just take pride in it, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very one of a kind. We get made fun of by a few schools, but other than all that, it's a one of a kind mascot.
Hey, Coach, obviously these are your leaders that you brought here with you today. Who are some others that we need to look out for this year?
There's several on this team. I mean, we got a lot of depth this year on this team. That's something I'm excited about is the depth. There's a strong sophomore class, strong junior class to pair up with this senior class that has some great leaders and have really done a good job. Some other seniors to sort of look for that have done a great job. Spencer Gresham, who's our starting center, he's been a great leader. He does a good job in the huddle, sort of commanding the huddle as a center, commanding the expectation of the offensive line. Eli Sampley, Brado Sampley are two starters on the offensive line, that are returning. They're going to be seniors. So there's a great group of seniors that we're looking for big things from. Casey Moreland's another one that has really stepped up for us. And then you got some sophomores and juniors. Like I said, the Sklarski kid is one to look out for. I mean, he's extremely dynamic. He's a special kid. Probably one of the more athletic kids I've coached, if not the most athletic kid I've coached. He can take over a game in a heartbeat and take one to the house at any moment. It really is incredible what he can do. And then there's several others. Cooper Parent at tight end, Cade Cap, the Dunn brothers at tackle. There's just a lot of guys, a lot of depth on this team, a lot of guys to work with. It's just a matter of figuring out what fits us best position-wise with those kids and gives us the best chance to win, because, I mean, that's the ultimate goal. We want to win with these guys, but also, prepare them for life and put them through challenges that'll help them with that.
As we wrap things up here, for the guys, I know that it was tough, especially losing 5 of your last 6 games last season, but with respect to everybody on your schedule, is there one or two of those teams that you're really, you feel like you had it, but it just got away from you, that you're really looking forward to getting another shot at?
I think this goes for everybody on the team, and that's definitely Boonville. That's just one of the biggest rivals that we've had. I mean, it was generations back. I think we all want to win that game, no matter what.
I feel like we definitely want to get back to Waldron and beat them, because that's a game we shouldn't have lost. I mean, I think that's the first time Ozark's lost to Waldron in 20 years or something, so we definitely want to beat them this year.
I have 2 wins that I want. I want Boonville, and then I want to win against Dardanelle, because we kind of got our butt kicked last year. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I agree with that. We did get our butts kicked by Dardanelle, but I would love to play them again, along with Waldron, beat them. Mina, we had it close with them up until about third quarter, and we kind of just let go, and they were undefeated. So that would have been a big win, but we just let it get away from us.
All right, guys, that'll wrap things up. Really appreciate you coming down.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Coach Nigel's going to get a picture real quick.
Okay.
You would see him sticking out in a lot of this if you were.
All right, we're back with Coach Riley Perkins and the Baptist Prep Eagles. Coach Perkins, you guys went 5-5 last year, probably looking to really expand upon that this year. Just give us a brief summary of last year and then expectations for your guys coming up. And then why don't you go ahead and introduce the guys you brought along with you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think we took a lot of steps in the right direction last year. It was something that we were proud of. It was something that I know the seniors that we had last year, you know, they took us there after some tough years. And so thankful for them. At the same time, we're in a much better position this year to fill those spots with the guys that we have coming back than we've been in a long time. So I'm excited to see what we can do. I know we really made an emphasis this year on our off-season program, and the guys that were in that with us who weren't playing other sports saw some huge increases. Even just the other day when we were running at practice, some of the guys had their shirts off, and it was like, there's a lot more muscular guys out here than there was the past few years. So we're excited about that, and excited that Jacob here is going to be playing at 195 pounds this year instead of 155 pounds. And we could go, you know, we could go across the board with that, and excited to see, you know, this upcoming senior class and the leadership that they have. Excited to kind of put it in their hands and let them take us wherever they want to take us. To my right over here, we have Aaron Fielder. He's going to bounce around all over the place for us this year. He played receiver last year and had about 900 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns. We'll probably see him at quarterback some, receiver some. He's also a really good safety, and so he'll be all over the field for us. Jacob Dunn, similar running back, middle linebacker. He had a ton of tackles last year, and I expect him to only get better as his offseason has been incredible. And then right tackle, defensive lineman, Nathan Self. He's gotten a lot of college interest this offseason, which has been great. I know last year he played the entire season. He tore up his shoulder in our benefit game last year before our season even started, and played the entire season with it, and was dominant still. So I'm excited to see what he can do with two healthy shoulders this year as we get into it. But yeah, it's a great group. Participation at the school is better than it's ever been. And so I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for the buy-in. But that comes from great leadership from these guys and our assistant coaches who have gotten us to this level.
You know, that leads right into my next question. You said participation is really high. You know, we hear it from a lot of coaches at smaller schools because you know you're battling numbers or guys are multi-sport athletes, and you see that at smaller schools because you have to be. I'm from a smaller school and was the same way. Sounds like you guys have some pretty good numbers out and a pretty good senior class with numbers.
Absolutely. We'll have about 10 seniors this year, and all will be impact players for us. So we're going to miss them next year. At the same time, I'm excited to see, you know, how they can lead us and what they can do this year. We'll end up with about 35 guys on our high school team, and we have about 60 in junior high. So it's better numbers than we've had in a long time, and the ability to develop more depth than we've been able to. I know in years past, if something happened to one person or somebody had to come out for a play, it was tough to fill that position, or you kind of think, we may have to adjust what we're doing or our game plan because we lost, you know, a player for a drive or whatever, to get taped or whatever. And this year we're in a much better spot to kind of plug and play. Obviously, you know, that's not all encompassing. There are key players that we have that we want to keep in the game. At the same time, we're able to be in a little better spot than we've been in years past when it comes to depth. Special teams wise, get some guys some breaks and do some things like that rather than a lot of our guys who never came off the field the past few years. The thing that I really like about this group is 2 years ago when we started, or when our coaching staff got there, we started a lot of freshmen that year. So we improved a lot. At the same time, we were doing it with guys who probably weren't quite ready to play high school football. Now those guys are juniors, and on top of that, our seniors now, our 10th grade class, my first year, man, they've just grown so much. They've come so far. And so the guys who are seniors this year have played for a long time. Most of those, almost all of them have started. This will be their third year of playing high school or starting in high school football. And most of our juniors, this will be their third year as well because a lot of them played as freshmen. So we have 10 seniors, which is great. At the same time, we have a lot more probably, I guess, quote unquote, senior type people who have played for 3 years, even in our junior class. So we're super excited about that and all the time that they've already gotten on the field in high school, in high school football games. And we think that'll take us where we want to be this year at the end of the year.
Well, let's start with the players. We'll start right down here. Let's just talk about that leadership role. Whether, I know you're a senior, but whether you're a senior or not, you're stepping into a new role as a leader. So just talk about how you guys, I'd like to hear from all three of y'all, how you've embraced it, what you've done to improve yourself as an individual leader, and then as a leader for your position group, and then overall as a team.
Well, as an offensive lineman, we always break down our endo period with our term eat. So I'll be the guy that always breaks us down. And that's pretty fun because you just get to be loud, And as overall team, you always got to be encouraging the guys. Like whenever they're running sprints, no one wants to do that. So you got to build them up. And if they mess up, you can't knock them down a peg. You just got to keep building them up.
Yeah, for me, it's those guys that have gone through the off season completely. All of those, I think it's 7 or 8 seniors. And in years past, there's been that 1 or 2 guys that have really been, just a negative voice on the team, and we don't have that this year. We have all the seniors completely bought in, all the juniors and sophomores completely bought in. And you can just tell the energy and everything, it just looks different.
Yeah, and then I'd add to that, just like having the experience that most of us have up here, just like knowing what to do. And when the younger kids come up there and they're like, hey, what do I do here? You can tell them this is what you do, and which helps you learn it as well.
Yeah, we kind of define leadership as influencing others positively. Oftentimes there's loud voices and there's influencing that happens, but there have been some cases where the loud voices have maybe led in the wrong direction, and this year is something that's definitely not the case for us. We like I said, we define that as influencing others positively, and that's what it is this year. That's not to say we don't hold each other accountable. And there's times where where I have had to do it in the past, and this year I can go to these guys and the rest of the guys, Levi Yeager and Austin Herring and Ben Brown and the other seniors that we have, and I can say, hey, it's y'all's turn to get them right this time before I have to step up. And so when I don't have to step up and do that because it's on these guys, that'll take us way farther than we've ever been.
You just mentioned a couple of your seniors, but what other guys on the offensive side of the ball that aren't here today are we going to be, hearing their names on Friday nights?
Yeah, one exciting thing is I could kind of say it about all of our levels. We have a great senior class. We have a junior class with a ton of experience, and our sophomore class coming up won the junior high conference championship for the first time in a long, long time at Baptist last year. So that 10th grade group we have coming up, we have some really good offensive linemen that are going to play for us. We have one offensive lineman specifically that's going to be in that 10th grade group that started on our high school team last year. So we're excited to have that's Chase Rhodes. We're excited for him and the big year he's going to have. And then we have guys like Levi Sanders coming up in that 10th grade class who ran for 800 yards in junior high, and he's going to be a running back for us that has a little different level of speed and ability to kind of make something happen. He has incredible vision, stuff you can't coach. When he can see the hole and he can find it, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I see it. He has incredible vision. He's going to be a dynamic player for us this year as a sophomore. Then we have another offensive lineman, Chris Ivey, who's going to see a lot of minutes as a sophomore, and another sophomore, Miles Smith, who's going to play a lot for us. And I think the big thing for us this year up front is we have more size than we've ever had as well. Nathan over here was one of the top 4 in the magazine that just came out. Nathan was one of the top 4 offensive linemen in 2A on the 2A super team, and we fully expect him to live up to that this year. At the same time, he's our right tackle. Our left tackle is 6'9", 300 pounds. Like, he's a big dude. Then we have Miles Smith, who's going to play guard, who's 6 foot, 310 pounds. Nathan, 6'5", 300 pounds. So we have a lot of size. And then our other guys that I didn't mention are 250 plus. So in 2A, it's going to be a big offensive line. At the same time, we have to rise to the level of the physicality that we need. But we fully believe that those guys have the ability to take us where we want to go with a little more of maybe some short pass and kind of a run scheme that we have this year that's different than most teams will probably see. Because the biggest thing that we do, we have a system that we build around. At the same time, that system, we build it around who we have from year to year. So it's not like we just plug and play and say, hey, you're going to do this, and now you fill this spot. We build it completely around our guys. And I know Levi Sanders in the backfield, Jacob in the backfield, Aaron in the backfield, Austin Herring. We have a lot of guys who are able to make plays at all different levels for us. So it's going to be really exciting to see how it kind of all comes together. We have a great offensive coordinator, Chris Bass, who's going to call it up. And we have a new offensive line coach this year, Carson Murado, who joined us from Bismarck. They played for a state championship last year. So excited for what he's done so far with our guys, and excited to see where he can take that group. And then our running backs coach is Blake Gunner, who's done a great job with our running backs. And we've got a lot more depth at key positions this year, which is something that I haven't had at Baptist. We haven't had at Baptist since we've gotten there, and something that we're really excited about.
Speaking of the depth, perfect segue. I know you guys started 3-0, and you played a really tough conference, had some injuries that kind of derailed some things. And speaking of that conference, you think about Carlisle, that's a storied program, played for a state championship a couple years ago. Hazen won that state championship over them. Bearden's supposed to be improved. Owen has maybe the best quarterback in 2A up there that just committed to UAM. So just talk about the depth of that league and what challenges it presents.
Yeah, it's a tough league, and a league that I think has only gotten better over the years since I've been there. I think, yeah, if you look at it, our schedule, we have last year, I would say we were ready to take a step in the right direction, but we weren't ready for that big step. And so we started 3-0 with our non-conference schedule, beating Two Rivers, Mountainburg, and Episcopal. And then we hit a stretch that was tough. It's Carlisle and Bearden and England and Hazen and, Poen. So you have 5 straight that are really tough. And then you have Clarendon, who is going to be much improved this year, and Hampton, who has coach from Batesville, new head coach, who's going to do a phenomenal job there as well. So our league has only gotten better since I've been here. And yes, it's a tough league, a lot of storied programs and tradition. But that's why you play the game. That's why you play, because that's where we want to be as well. And we're not there at this moment. And every day, we work and we strive to get to that level. And I think this offseason specifically has been one when we've gone to 7-on-7 tournaments and stuff like that, where we've looked at the teams that are in our conference and we're like, oh, okay, we kind of look like they do now. There was a time when it was like they're up here and we're down here. Because we're playing a bunch of freshmen, and this year it's like, we look the part more than we ever have. So I'm excited to see what that looks like when we put pads on, and it's big for us. We have a few away games to start the year, and then we have a big rivalry game at home, week 3 against Episcopal, and our first conference game is Carlisle coming to our place. So we're going to get right to it when conference play starts, and we're excited for that. Hopefully 2 undefeated teams coming in for that big conference opener, which, anything can happen. And yeah, we're stoked to see, where these guys can take us this year.
Well, Coach, that's going to wrap it up for Baptist Prep Eagles. We appreciate you guys, and good luck the rest of the year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Up next, we've got the Junction City Dragons led by head coach Devin Ball. Coach, I will pass it over to you to introduce who you brought with you and give your opening statement.
Gentlemen, thanks for having us. Everything y'all are doing for football, for athletics. I saw you expanded to volleyball this year with y'all's media day. Hats off to all of you. To my left, y'all's right at the very end, Jermaine Deuce Singleton, defensive tackle, right tackle, Dalton Baker, defensive end, tight end, DeColin Hampton, wide receiver, free safety, and DeCorey Larry, quarterback, and whatever we needed to not be on defense. So,
well, I know obviously last year ended really tough. You know, you made it far to the semifinals, one game away from a state championship game, but you and I talked a lot throughout last season. I remember when you started 0-2 after the Carlisle game, you talked about we're going to be there in the state championship game, and I'll be completely transparent. I knew you had the talent, but I'm like, we'll see how things come along.
Yeah.
About midway or so, you guys started to get some things figured out, and you went on that long run. So again, I know it ended disappointingly, but you got to be proud with how they turned things around.
yeah, I am. There's a lot of resilience within this group to start from where they did and have the expectations and the looming things that we did, we being myself. Coach Smith, who I brought with me, is also a former Dragon, father coach there, and then Coach Jones. They had so much weight on them coming up from 3A to 2A. The expectation was win or bust. But our goals were set high. We aimed small, so we missed small in that 8 seconds or so away from at least giving our chance to go to the state championship, which we still had to win it. So I think we're very dissatisfied with how that ended, but we're very satisfied with how the season went because we looked at our student athletes and we had about 7 of them go to play college football. Using that platform, these things that the program can give them to enhance and enrich the community and the things that they feel that are important and they want to use to grow on. But with, to my left here, these two gentlemen, they were here 3 head coaches ago. Both will be 4-year starters. DeColin Hampton and DeCorey, they'll both be 2-year starters. But when he was at his former district, he started there as a freshman. So he's a 4-year guy. He's played a lot of football. DeCorey had an injury upon my arrival at Junction City that sidelined him for a year. We had no idea, to your point, about 0-2 where we were going to go because we lost Dominique Grimes from that game with a no contest, and then we had to figure out some stuff at the quarterback position. Hadn't seen him perform the entire time I'd been here. We get him rolling for practice going into the Smackover game. It was a pretty good 3A opponent, and he unleashes and shows us sparks to be our guy at quarterback. From that point till the Murfreesboro game where we fell in the conference championship, we felt like we had our football team found. He had us rolling offensively. He can run it. He can throw it. Gets us lined up. Finds this guy, which is important. He protects him, and he finishes things off. Dalton's been 2 years straight a top 10 sack leader in Arkansas, all classifications. That's what I did before I got here was at Camden. I was a D-line guy, then DC. He's as good as it gets, and this core we have of seniors and leadership is as good as we've had even when I was around, on and off the field. So we feel really good about how it may not have necessarily ended date-wise, but as far as the mileage, as far as what we did as a program, I couldn't be prouder.
And for the players, we'll start from the right there. As Coach talked about, all of you, you've got a lot of snaps under your belt, and you all understand the Dragon standard, one of the best programs, particularly of the 21st century. Just talk about what you guys took from last season to go into this season and make an even deeper run.
Okay, based off last season, we feel like we're going to take that as motivation as this season, and then we're going to progress constantly until we finally get to where we want to be at.
Our goal was to win state. We didn't accomplish that. We fell short. So we got to come next year.
Just what happened last year and the year before and the year before that, it's just all fuel for the fire to win more and more.
After losing the first Brown playoff game when I started here, and then to lose my sophomore year in the quarterfinals, then lose last year in the semifinals, this year I'm coming for it all. And ain't no team gonna be able to stop us. That's how I feel.
Coach, you got a new offensive coordinator this year. Chris Morphus comes over from Hampton. Talk about what he brings to your offense.
Chris Morphus has been doing football for 20 years. I was in the 7th grade running around, eating Skittles, pounding Dr. Pepper, and he saw me when he was at Lake Village helping there. And so the happenstance and the things that go into his arrival, he was on the schedule against us my first year. Coach Carpenter had it preset. Hampton was an opponent there. He had came over from Poen, and they know how to play pretty good football there. But he brings so much rich knowledge, and again adds to the fire. When he was at Hampton, they got teed off on quite a bit, and he reminds us of that. It reminds us of things that we might have forgotten, especially after how the season went, when a lot of guys will dwell too much and sulk on what we didn't do instead of focusing on what we accomplished. When you got a guy like that, a veteran who's been through the gridlock and taken on all the challenges of being a head coach and then trying to revive a program as he did at Hampton, I think he stokes our flame as much as anything that we've had around us in my 2 years going into year 3. So with him, we'll be spread. We've got about 4 options at quarterback right now. We've got a number 1, though, and we feel like we got a 1B and a 1C. But with him, it's going to be a lot of gun spread. We're going to run some buck. We're going to run some power. But we're going to get back to basics. It'll look very similar to what it did my first year here when we were in 3A and fell to Glen Rose.
And talking about the non-conference there, you'll see the same teams that you said again, as we talked about, started 0-2, and then won the Smackover game, making sure I didn't get that wrong. So getting a chance at those guys again, teams that you're very familiar with, especially, how big is that?
Right, it's huge. And so Carlisle, we dropped our contest with Carlisle, and we will now be playing Mount Ida at Ouachita Baptist University. So that will be a huge game for us. Again, fortuitous. Coach White didn't have a game. I didn't have a game. It's right before the cycle. Gave him a shot. No one wanted to play him. No one play us. Really didn't want to play each other. The football gods decided that's what we were going to do. And so Coach Knight, Coach Sharp, great administration over at OBU, agreed to do so. So we will be playing Mount Ida at OBU. Is that September 5th? September the 5th. Right. So having that added into it, that gives us everything we need to in my opinion, to say play ball. As far as motivation, I know a lot of kids need external things. They need something they can peck on to get going. Well, there's nothing bigger than that. They're ranked number 2. We're ranked number 3. I think Conway Christian still be number 1 because they won the state championship regardless. But for them to be in that position, especially at my alma mater, I'm a little biased because I am an OBU guy. I am thrilled to see them compete at that stage. And then again, Smackover at Junction. We played them 2 years at Smackover. They transitioned coaches. We agreed to do that to keep it simple. That'll be a huge game for us. We're going to make that a rivalry-themed game. And then Harmony Grove's always tough. We know that. Coach Horskamp does a great job. And then our conference will be it'll surprise a few people. But we'll have a year under our belt. We'll be ready for it.
No matter what the record says that this year or that year, Junction City's always flooded with athletes. Dominic Grimes was electric. You put him in a 2A or a 7A offense, he's a threat to score anytime he touches the ball. So who are some guys, maybe that you don't have here with you today, others that could be electric with the football as well?
Outside these 4 guys, I think Jackson Scatterboo Caldwell is going to be an explosive running back for us. We've got some guys with Nemo Caldwell, who played left tackle for us, left guard rather. We're transitioning him to tight end. We've had a great tight end that was at Junction City a couple of years ago by the name of Jamario Bell, and he reminds me a lot of that guy. He's getting that kind of attention. I think our offensive line is going to create a scenario where we can give the football to a lot of guys and they be successful. And it starts with that guy right there. So as far as our skill spots and being explosive with the football, we feel like we can make that a priority, and we can put a point of emphasis on it based off of what we can do up front as blockers.
And then defensively, that's obviously your background. As you talked about, you came over from Camden Fairview as a defensive coordinator. You played defensive line. I talk about just how that unit continues to come along.
I place that at a premium. I'm not going to lie to you. And Coach Jones knows that. He does a great job handling that. Great thing about a guy like Coach Morphus is when he was at Hamburg, I was at Camden. He helped develop a couple of all-state safeties when I played college football. So I think the culmination of the knowledge, that tenacity, the know-how, and then obviously last year having played these opponents, knowing these coaches, knowing kind of the layout of what we're dealing with is really going to help us be successful, especially strategically. In 2A, 3A, you see a lot more option-centric football coming from 5A down. Didn't see any of that at all other than Coach Van Pascal, who's now at Cross County, who we got to play in the playoffs this year. I was lucky enough to go against him. But with that style of play, it tends to change the approach for your kids in game. When you're sitting here coaching up, dropping hook to curl, playing smack over, and then you walk in there and you play 4 dice, we're playing man-on-man ball. We're going to trigger. And I think the whole thing that we went through last year in transitioning from 3A, having both those things under our belt, there's nothing that's going to surprise these guys. They'll be ready to handle anything with an iron fist.
Wrapping things up here, I'll get the opinion of the players here. I know you guys really probably would have liked to have another shot at Carlisle this year, but Replacing that with a solid Mount Ida team, a really, really good Mount Ida team at a college stadium, how cool is that going to be?
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be straight.
All right.
Straight and narrow. There you go.
I always want to come back and get revenge for that first Carlisle game, but replacing it with a new team, that's always exciting. Playing another team, making up a new scheme for defense, and figuring out who their good guys are, and playing at a college field, that's something I've never done before, so that's always exciting.
Well, I'm excited about playing a new team, but I do want to play at home. So.
All right. Well, guys, that'll wrap it up. Very much appreciate you making the trip up.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're back with Coach Keithley and Bismarck Lions. Coach Keithley had an unbelievable season last year, came up short, state championship game. Walk us through that, overcoming that tough loss with your kids, but then also leading into the expectations of this year, which I'm sure you're excited about. Then if you don't mind, introduce the fellas you brought with you.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough loss, and going into that game, we thought we had a good shot on it, and evidently just came up one touchdown short. But the good thing is that's something that Bismarck's never done. We've never been in that game before. So we're setting new precedents at Bismarck, setting a tone for the new year and what we got going on for the program. And of course, the good thing is we did fall short of our ultimate goal, and that's to win a state championship. So that goal is still hanging above us, so we still got something we're shooting for. And so we're looking forward to getting it done, doing what it takes in the offseason, and building that program back up to where we need to be so we can get that win on that final game. As far as the guys we got here, we got Malachi Moore, defensive tackle, senior, my quarterback, Ethan Hornbeck, and Zane Talbert, leading tackler, linebacker from last year. These are some of our leaders. We got a couple more that couldn't be here due to church camp. But these guys, they're putting in the work. They understand. They were at that game. They saw the loss. They felt what it feels like, and we're ready to get to work.
Let's start. You brought a lineman here. Let's start there, Coach. I think you lost some production, but you have a lot coming back as well. Let's talk about the offensive line and defensive line since it all starts there.
Well, we graduated 4 of the 5 last year on our offensive line, and of course, anybody knows 11-man football. That's a big deal. A 5th one decided that he needed to work. That is not going to come back to us. But the good thing is we had a really good line. Our junior high, we have several sophomores. We had a couple of juniors that we thought could spell some guys off of last year that will return. But it is going to be a building year. It's one of those things, you saw Salem do it. They had a bunch of young linemen. They took their lumps early in the season, but by the time they got to us in that championship game, they're firing on all cylinders. And so we're hoping we're going to be that team. We got a couple of guys that, they've got the measurables. They're big bodies. They can get it done. Now, defensive line, we got, like I said, we got Malachi Moore coming back on our defensive line. You got Matthias Martinez coming back on our defensive line. Those are guys that gave us good production. So we feel good about the defensive side of it, but we definitely got to fill some holes on that offensive line.
And you got your quarterback right to the left of you. You have a little bit of experience playing quarterback, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, talk about coming back now. You have the whole starting season looking in front of you. Just talk about stepping into that leadership role, and not only for yourself individually, but on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes, sir. I've always really worked really hard to be a leader above everything else, even being above an athlete. And to me, that's one of the things that I'm trying to take with me from football. And so it's obviously a huge honor to step into a quarterback role and be able to lead my friends and teammates, guys around me. And so it's really been a good time and a lot of fun.
Well, introduce the guy to your left. Y'all going to be playing quite a bit together, right?
Yes, sir. Zane.
I'm Zane. I was starting linebacker outside last year. Led the team in tackles, and I just feel really confident in our side of the ball. We were looking good during team camps. We have some linebackers that left us, but we have sophomore linebackers coming up and another junior. I just feel really confident in him too. Our D-line, like he said, we still have Matthias coming back. We still have Malachi Moore coming back. So I feel really good about them. Our secondary's just been looking really good, 7-on-7 tournaments and everything. So I feel really confident on our side.
All right, perfect. Coach, who are some names, on the offensive side of the ball that we're going to hear on Friday nights?
Well, obviously you got Caden Keithley. That's the little brother of Ben Keithley from last year. But last year he led all of 3A in touchdowns. I think he was tied for number 7 in all classifications in touchdowns. So he's only gotten bigger, faster, stronger. He's a dynamic player. If you can get the ball in his hands as much as possible, we're going to try to do that for sure. He's a guy that's he can beat you just because he's pure strength, but just pure grit and speed. He understands the game. He's been there. He's done that, so nothing's going to be new for him. I've got a return. Our leading receiver last year was Preston Hughes. He was one that played quarterback for us whenever Ben was out for his injuries last year. He was one we thought was going to be the quarterback, and then Ethan was able to come to us, and he wanted to stay at that receiver position, so it worked out perfect for us. So Preston Hughes is a big name. Caden Birch, upcoming sophomore, played quarterback for the junior high team last year, but he's a big, tall, fast kid, athletic. He's the one that can get some reps at quarterback just to change the pace a little bit, but he's going to be a good threat on that outside. Ethan Hughes is a returning receiver. He looks really good. He's one of our tall outside receivers, really going to help us out. But the biggest thing we've got going for us is going to be depth at that skill position. We've done really well in 7-on-7 this year. So we look, as far as skill guys go, we feel pretty good about it. Another one that I've left out is our big bowling ball running back Clayton Martinez, sophomore running back. He's the one that he's tough to bring down, and he's one that he doesn't look like he's going to be fast, but he's out there just leaving guys behind. So he's another one that's going to be big for us.
Coach, you talked about how things were done last year that hadn't been done in school history. I've got kind of a two-parter here. Talk about how important that is now, and I know history is history, but now you've got something to point out. When you first took over, the program was in a pretty rough spot. Now you've got a standard to say, okay, here's what we have done in the past and we can continue to do. But also talk about the depth of 3A. We've been talking to the 3A coaches about that, especially you guys making it to the championship game against Salem, and just that gauntlet really that starts in the first round.
Well, last year, for sure, the 3A was as tough as any conference I've ever been a part of. This year, our conference, I think there's several key guys that graduated. So it's kind of a question mark on how tough our conference is going to be down there. I think Smackover, Prescott are going to be tough. But like you said, getting to the championship game, what's that do for us? There's something to be said about tradition and culture, and that's the biggest thing that we've been able to develop. That's going to be big for us. You cannot replace, and it's hard to instill in a kid an expectation of winning. That was something that wasn't necessarily there when we first got there. and it's there now. And of course, like we said earlier, we got one more goal that we gotta scratch off of our list, and we want to win state championship.
Well, Coach, I'll just ended up with this. We can start right here. Bismarck's kind of one of those towns. We've talked about it yesterday. We've talked about it a few times today. It's those communities where just the whole place rallies around you. I'd kind of like to hear from your guys and you about, how special that is when the whole community comes out and supports you on a Friday night, and you got the school colors and downtown. And just tell us about how that makes you guys feel and how that helps you on the field.
I'll let y'all start that one.
Well, being able to go out and play under the lights is good, but when we have our whole community out there, it shows that they believe that we can make it to bigger and better things, and that's not only football, that's life. So when we see them in the stands, we have no choice but to play our hearts out because they're giving up their time to come and watch us play.
Obviously, I wasn't there last year to experience it. I got to go and watch my now stepbrothers play and get to experience the crowd from actually being in it. And I went and watched we played Osceola in the playoffs and then the state championship game. I was there for both of those. And just the crowd and how I've been around the big school crowds, and it's the exact same fire. Maybe even less people, but the exact same fire. And it is, it lights that fire under your rear end, and you're ready to go. And so I'm super excited to experience it. I've got to experience some things over the summer, just there being people there like supporting us, and spring game, still just a massive turnout for a spring game, and it's pretty cool to experience so far.
Having our community there definitely brings up the intensity in the game. It gives you more to work for. Having that many supporters is it makes the game, it makes our memories. Them all cheering, it makes the whole night, it makes the Friday night lights, it makes everything about it. The student section going, your family supporting you, it's just there's no better feeling than having them out there, and you just want to play your heart out. You want to win that game for them because like he said, they're giving up their time for you. They know you can do it, so we want to be out there to show them that we can do it and that we will do it.
And just to echo some of the things they've said, there's nothing like the electricity that you feel whenever you see nothing but standing room all around. The whole crowd is sitting there cheering you on. They're yelling, they're loud. In truth, it's hard to call plays sometimes. It's a good thing we got hand signals. Otherwise, it'd be pretty tough because, they can't hear you. You actually got to practice getting snap counts and whatnot. But it has been a very noticeable thing over in that little small town of Bismarck and that community of just how many people are starting to show up for football games and rally behind us.
Well, Coach, that'll wrap it up for the Bismarck Lions. Appreciate you guys coming out, and good luck to you this season.
Thank you.
Up next is the Dumas Bobcats. They are sorry, let me start over. I'm getting tongue-tied. Up next is the Dumas Bobcats. They are led by head coach Antonio Lovelady. Coach, I will go ahead and pass it over to you to introduce who you brought and give your opening statement.
All right. First off, I want to say thank you guys for inviting us. You guys are putting on a great event for Arkansas high school football, and we really appreciate that. I have 4 seniors with me today, starting from my right down here. Jaquavian Baker is our returning starter at D-line. Keon Chaffins, returning starter at linebacker. Senior Marcus Kilgore, returning starting receiver, 3-year starter at receiver and DB, and Kavion Henderson, 3-year starter on the O-line.
Well, you and I have talked about it. It's been discussed pretty much at length. You guys got off to a rough start, 0-3, a little bit of a roller coaster season.
Yeah.
Got healthier, and things started to come together at the end, and you made a really great playoff run. I think you guys were the lowest seed to make it the furthest.
Yeah. Well, like you said, we talked about it before. A little rough in the non-conference schedule, but, you know, we scheduled a tough non-conference to get us ready for the conference season, starting out with a rival in Star City. You know, it's a trophy game now, so that's big. Then having Hamburg, I'm good friends with Coach Johnson down there, so having that game continue to go. They're old 4A rivals. And then that third week with Monticello High, they're a great program with Coach Harvey leading them. So we started out a little rough, got healthy toward the end, and was able to put a run together and kind of show the town that we can play football in Dumas as well.
Now you got, we'll talk about the guys you have here and some of the returners, but I know you got a lot of young talent that you're extremely excited about too. Of course, Kent Brown has gotten a lot of the headlines already, multiple P4 offers. So, you know, talk a little bit about that, how you're excited to mix in some of those young guys with the experience that you have.
Yeah, we got a lot of experience. We had a big senior class last year, but we have some key guys returning, including these guys here. We have a senior class of 13. That's big for us. A lot of those guys have been battle tested. They've been through it from their 9th, 10th grade year on. Then we have a good mixture of junior high talent coming up that's going to be sophomores. As you mentioned, Kent Brown gets a lot of the attention, and rightfully so. When you look at him, he looks like that, and when you put the film on, he checks all the boxes. But these other guys, we have a sophomore quarterback in Kyle Young making his debut. We have some of those young receivers running around along with Marcus. You know, these guys, like I said, they're battle tested. They know what it's like. They know what it takes, and we're excited about this upcoming season.
And for the players, we'll start from the right and go left. Going on that playoff run after some of the roller coaster of the regular season, how big was that for the team morale taking it into next year?
I mean, I feel like it made us better overall to make that next step and become the football program that we need to be. It helped us a lot because, like, we started off rough, like.
Yeah, I feel like what he said, I feel like it just helped us out more, and I just feel like the rough start just gave us more fuel to make a better impact on the season. It just, as we went on, we just got better and better, and we just worked on that.
I feel like it was a really big thing for us being a part of the group that turned around the Bobcat program.
I feel like we turned around the program. We haven't made the playoffs in a couple years. So in that run, I think it helped the school out a lot.
Coach, you're Delta born and raised from Helena. Of course, played with Kevin Miller, who we are honoring at this event. And I always like to ask coaches, really from that whole eastern portion of the state, whether it's north, central, south, there's a lot of untapped talent. As you said, you know, Kent's is getting those big, Kylan James, his brother, was another one that came out of your school in particular. But when you guys have the kids, whether it be from your school or just in your area, how big is that for that portion of the state to get that kind of college?
It's huge because a lot of the things that we do that we brought to the program, our coaching staff, we want to mimic what goes on around the state. We want to give those kids the same opportunities that a kid in Northwest Arkansas or a kid in Central Arkansas has. So that's huge, you know, for them to get that attention and show that they have the talent to compete at that level. It's motivation, I would think, for younger generations, younger kids coming up.
Who are some of your upperclassmen returners that, you know, are not here today that we need to look out for?
Well, we got our returning leading rusher, Rashard Moore, coming back. I think one of the big strengths of our team that's coming back is the linemen. We have a lot of linemen that'll be seniors that has been through it, has been in the program since they've been in 8th grade. So they're extremely strong and physical, and that, you know, one thing about that playoff run, they learn how to work and what it takes to win those big games. So those guys in particular, you got guys like Deshaun Nora coming back, a really good kid, 6'1", 190, 23 on the ACT already, really good football player as well. Guys like that that's coming back, and that's really, we're looking for big things from this season.
And for the players, again, kind of building off some of the things that y'all learned taking into next year, what were maybe some things individually that you worked on your craft, whether meeting with the coaches after the season or just something that you kind of broke down your game that you needed to work on?
I feel like the coaches helped me a lot building me to become who I am today, battling with injuries and not being able to stay healthy. And then some of it I had to talk with my teammates, and they helped me a lot too. But in the long run, I feel like overall the whole community as a whole has helped me.
Yeah, I can say the same thing because I dealt with injuries last year. I missed most of the season, came back during the playoffs, and I just had to have talks with my coaches, and they just had to help me build my confidence back up and just help me get back on the field a bit better.
I feel like the same way. I had an injury too. I feel like I'm learning now to be more cautious about certain things and what to do and what not to do, and also getting stronger in the weight room and working on speed and agility. It's a big part of it too.
I had a couple injuries going into last season, and throughout the season, my coaches helped me get through those and finish the games, play out the games. I don't think I missed a game last season.
And Coach, you've got some experience playing in that Southeast Conference, whether it be in 4A or 3A. They got a Fordyce team that brings back a lot that a lot of people are expecting things out of. Of course, Rising had a great year, got a lot coming back. Barton, another storied program that's in there. So still, whether you're in 3A or the 4A, it's still a deep league there in that Southeast corner. So talk about playing in that conference.
Yes, it didn't get any easier for us. You would think leaving 4A and dropping down to 3A that you're going to be the big dog, but that's not the case. That conference is rich in tradition. Like you said, Fordyce has a lot coming back. Rising had an unbelievable season last year under Coach Vereen. You got programs like McGee, Barton, Palestine, Wheatley. Drew Central is getting better and better each year. Lake Village is doing a good job. So it's a pretty good conference top to bottom. It's really not a week off to say.
How about the 3A class? We'll just keep building on that 3A classification overall. We talked about it just a second ago with Bismarck, the runner-up. I mean, truly, I know it's almost sound like a broken record, but just for years, it doesn't matter if it's a first-round matchup. It doesn't matter. As teams found out about you guys, the seeding was completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's a first round, second round. It's just always tough every time.
Yes, that 3A conference overall is very tough. You got teams like Bismarck, Osceola, Salem, Mansfield's really good team. That's who we end up going against in the third round and coming up short. So there's a lot of great teams top to bottom, and it's not easy.
Talk about some of the coaches that I know you've been under. Bobby Baldo, Blake Johnson was one that we had from Hamburg that was his defensive coordinator, and had Whitehall, and you've had an opportunity to coach under some great ones. So talk about some of those guys that have mentored you and led you to being a head coach.
Well, Coach Bobby Bolden was big, tremendous in it, from day one. I think Coach Johnson talked about his organization. He always had a plan for everything. I can remember 2014 title game. We knew it was going to rain and have a storm delay. We expected. We had a plan, had it planned exactly, and it went the way we expected. That's just an example of how detailed he was. So that's definitely something that I take away from him. Just being around good coaches, not just only working with him, picking guys' brains like Bo Hembry down at Warren all the time. I'll call him up if I have a question. And Buck James, the list goes on and on. There's a lot of great coaches around in this state. And I know I don't know everything, so I don't have a problem picking up the phone or getting in the car and taking a visit.
And to the players again, now that we've discussed some of the learning lessons that you went through last year, is there maybe one or two games, whether conference, non-conference, that you felt slipped away from you that you had a chance to win that you're going to get another shot at this year that you're looking forward to?
I mean, we taking it one step at a time, one game every week. We preparing the same for everybody.
Yeah, I feel the same way about that.
I feel like any loss, we had a chance to win it.
I feel like any loss, we had a chance we could have won that game, but we prepared for everybody the same.
I don't think we touched on the lines very much right now. Talk about what you got on the interior on each side.
Well, we have, I believe, three 3 guys that started last year coming back. One guy in particular, Nate Fitzgerald, he was out with an injured knee last year. He'll be back. He started the previous year, so that gives us another guy. We have some juniors that'll step up and fill those vacancies from those seniors graduating last year on the offensive line. Defensive line, we have Jaquavian coming back. We have DeQuan Stovall coming back as a starter. We have some young guys in Carmelo Burgess coming up from our junior high that's really talented, good-looking kid. We expect a lot out of him. Jordan Scott, another sophomore, we expect some big things out of him. So I feel confident in those areas, along with our linebackers. We have 4 linebackers that's coming back that's seniors, and they made a real difference last year, along with Keon, Donald James. We have I believe he was a 3A leading tackler, and Jordan Kinney coming back as well, along with Deshaun Norwood, which I mentioned earlier. Those guys, I feel like that's the strength of our team.
The secondary is going to be pretty young. I know that. That's going back to the conversation about the young guys that you're going to be playing / starting. How do you feel that's coming? Obviously, some pretty talented kids if you're moving freshmen up.
Yeah, they're pretty talented. The spring, the summer, 7-on-7s has really helped. We got Marcus coming back in the secondary. We have Kimarian Jackson coming back. He'll be a junior. He's played sparingly last year, but we're looking for him to take a bigger role. That freshman you're talking about, Chase Gordon, that's a name to remember. He's a talented kid. He has to be talented if we're going to move him up as a freshman and play, and he's possibly going to start in the secondary or at receiver or both, and along with some of these other sophomores that are kind of battling it out for that last spot. But we'll be young, but they're talented.
All right, guys, that'll wrap things up. Really appreciate you making the trip.
Thank y'all for having us.
All right, we're back with Coach Adam Kirby and the Magnolia Panthers. Coach Kirby, last year definitely was not up to the standards that you want this football team to be held accountable to. Just briefly give us a run-through of last year, but then also looking forward to this year. What are the expectations for this year? And then introduce the guys that you brought with you.
Sure. Yeah, first off, Kyle, thanks for inviting us, having us up, man. Thank you for all our sponsors. You know, listening to those Bismarck guys kind of got me fired up because there's nothing better than high school football. And so we're lucky that we have a one high school town and the community comes out and supports us just like they were talking about. So we feel very fortunate to be here, very blessed. You know, last year I was very proud of our guys, you know, coming into a situation where they'd been in the flex bone, running the triple option for about 20 years. You know, we implemented the spread and the kids took to it real well. My first day on campus, we had 44 kids on the roster, 9 through 12, and we finished the season with 95 kids. And so when you're talking about it didn't live up to the standard, I mean, we did a lot of good things that are going to help us moving forward. It didn't always show up in the win-loss column, but I was very, very proud of our guys. All four of these guys, in addition to the rest of their class, were outstanding leaders for us. They bought into me and our way of doing things, kind of hook, line, and sinker, and continue to lead with integrity, with great character, and very much looking forward to coaching them this year. So going from my left to right, we've got Walker Carter, plays quarterback for us. Carmelo McDonald plays linebacker. Caleb Roach plays cornerback for us. And Chevis Johnson, who plays linebacker for us.
Well, we'll start right here. Walker, quarterback. You know, just talk about the role you're stepping into, new offense, newer coach, and leadership roles. I'd like to hear from all four of you guys.
You know, I played quarterback last year, me and Titus Nelson. We swapped in and out, but man, I've been playing football my whole life. It ain't nothing new to me. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this, man. It's football. I just go out there and play football on Friday night, man.
I mean, I played linebacker last year. I just like it's the same thing. Same way I played last year, I'm gonna play this year.
I'm a cornerback. I get the opportunity to help co-lead with the guy to my right, Chevis. We get and Carmelo over there. We get to co-lead and put our ideas on blast. And the coaches, they got confidence in us. I text them, whether it be 12 at night or right when we get out of school, I'll talk to them and I'll tell them, hey, I saw this on film. This is kind of how I want to play it. And they'll just be like, hey, if you're comfortable with it, do you? And so the coaches have confidence in us and allow us to be ourselves out there.
Well, I play linebacker, and I'm going to just keep being the leader I be for my team, and I'm going to have another all-state season.
And Coach, in your second year, you talked a little bit about, bringing new offense, new ways. Talk a little bit about the guys that aren't here on that offensive side of the ball and what names we're going to be hearing on Friday nights. Yeah,
offense is where we got hit the hardest with graduation. We've got a lot of our defense returning, but offensively, Walker's a name. Obviously, he's here, but we've got a couple running backs that can flex out, play receiver as well. Ike Ainsworth is a guy that's going to be a senior that's really impressed us through spring ball. Jamaje Marshall can play receiver and running back. He's had a really good spring. Tristan Morgan will play fullback and tight end for us. And then on the offensive line, we got two returning starters with Garrett Odell, who was all conference, and Jackson Wolfley was all conference on the offensive line. So we've got some pieces that we need to put together offensively, but I feel good about our work ethic, where they're at. We didn't have a lot of absences over summer workouts, and they've really set their mind to rebuilding the program in kind of the right way and doing it and understanding it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, but they've really accepted the challenge, and we're looking forward to this year.
And what about on the defensive side?
We've got them pretty much all coming back. Had a defense that gave up right under 20 points a game at 19 points per game. These two were all state, Chevis and Caleb. We had several all-conference kids. Mello was all-conference. Elijah Broomfield, who's going to be a senior defensive tackle, was all-conference. We've got Braylon Witcher, who's shifted over, had an injury last year. He's been a real good, I wouldn't say surprise, but asset to us this spring as a senior. So we're really excited about our defense, and we've got a good defensive coordinator in Jeff Savage, who's done a good job for us, and I'm looking forward to them, to continue what they did last year.
And you said that you do like to spread them out a little bit. Do you run 4 wide sets, 5 wide sets? What are the main sets that we're going to see?
All of them, yeah. Well, I mean, we like to go empty. We'll go 10 personnel, we'll go 11 personnel, but also we want to be a little bit diverse. We need to be a little bit more multiple. Last year, we graduated 5 receivers. We graduated 3 O-linemen. We graduated 2 running backs. And so we're going to have to be a little bit more diverse and multiple in how we get the ball to our playmakers. But we'll do a little bit of everything. Our kids have done really well at studying the playbook and adapting to it and learning it and have really enjoyed it. So.
Coach, you got your taste of the 5A South last year. It's obviously an extremely tough conference. Of course, Hot Springs is in the room right now. They've done a great job. Camden Fairview, Hot Springs Lakeside, obviously 3-time defending champion Parkview. So talk about how that league just prepares you for the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak on how it prepares you to the postseason because we went 5-5. But I'll tell you this: I felt like we were in the toughest 5A district in the state in Louisiana, and you know, a lot of Division I talent and all that. But coming up here, it's every bit as good, if not better. I mean, you're facing good coaching every week. You're facing good playmakers every week. Coaches do a really good job across the board at every school of having an answer to what you're trying to take advantage of. You know, you go to the TV, and before you get back out there, you know, what you thought may have been open or, you know, would have been a good counter punch is already taken off the clock. And so I was really impressed with the level of football, you know, how hard the teams play. There's really not a week off. And then when you start off with Nashville, Bauxite, and Hamburg, those are 3 non-con games that are pretty tough too. So we've got our work cut out for us, especially in conference, but we're going to keep pushing forward and try to get us to the playoffs.
You know, I'd like to hear from the players here. You know, we start down here with your linebackers. You know, what are those games, or one game or 2 games last year that you know really slipped through your fingertips, or were just a whole lot of fun that you played in that you can't wait to get back on the field and play that same team this year?
I'm going to be honest. Hot Springs, we got to see Hot Springs again because we're supposed to beat them, but it slipped, so they got to see us again.
Every game we lost, I'm ready to get back to it. I took it all personal. I still think about them every day, and so every game that we lost is going to be a battle this year.
Like Caleb said, every game. I mean, it all hurt us, so we wanted to get back.
I gotta say Hamburg, man. That was a close game. We had it. Slipped right through our fingertips, man. That's a personal game for me, though. I got people over there. I want to win that game. I'm ready to get back to Hamburg.
We'll talk a little bit about how fun it is to play in an offense where you got wide receivers running all over the place and you can kind of throw the ball around.
I mean, it's just like you see on Saturdays. You turn the TV on, you see an SEC team, and they're slinging it out there. And that's just what you feel like you're in a offense where you're succeeding, man. But yeah.
Coach, wrap us up with, you know, Kyle asked about that conference, and it's just brutal. But, you know, I know you've already stated, hey, this year our goal is, you know, make the playoffs. I realize we came up short last year, but our goal is to make the playoffs. So what have you guys done in the offseason to really get that mindset to, hey, this year we're winning games, right? We're finishing those games. So what have y'all done in the offseason to say we're getting to the playoffs this year because we're going to finish those games?
The first thing was we talked about it, you know, and we were blatantly honest with each other as coaches and players. There were clips that maybe we could have called something different on offense and defense. Maybe we could have gone for it on 4th down. We elected to punt, and we were vulnerable with our kids and said this may have given us an opportunity to win, and we expected them to be thick-skinned and take coaching when maybe they didn't make a play. But I think having honesty within your program is a big step of this is what our goal is. This is what everybody in the organization has to do to get that goal done. But also from that, we went to boot camp and had, you know, really tested them mentally, physically. Our maxes went up in the weight room. During the summer, we worked, you know, 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to noon. And so the kids have really worked hard. If we don't make the playoffs this year, it won't be because of lack of effort. I mean, these are good kids that work really hard. They give us what they got every single day, not just on Fridays. I mean, they show up excited to come to practice. They show up excited to come to film. They've got their notebooks. You know, they're taking notes. They're helping each other. We've gotten a lot closer as a team. Like I said, we've grown from 44 kids my first day on the job to 95 at the end of the season. And now going into this year, we'll have 116. And so the seniors look out for the freshmen and, you know, vice versa. I mean, everybody's willing to help each other, and there's a common goal of getting there. And so it's not about egos, you know, like Caleb said, you know, and I love that. You know, some coaches look at me crazy, but if Caleb feels he can play a technique better than what we're asking him to do, he's the one doing it. You know, let's try it out and put that trust in him and show him that we trust our guys to go make the plays when the plays need to be made. So if it comes down to anything, I'd say the work ethic, the character, but also being transparent, honest, and growing together as a team, I think will get us to where we need to be.
Obviously, you had some good buy-in, increasing those numbers the way that you did. Was it more so just about maybe getting some athletes out of the hallways, just kind of getting to buy into the culture, understand what you were trying to do? What were some of the ways you did that?
Football's fun. I mean, you know, it's a fun game, and there is nothing better than being a high school football coach. You get to help kids every day. You know, my high school coach, I still talk to him 4 times a week. And truthfully, I just have always kept that in the back of my mind that I don't ever want to be the coach that is using kids to get myself victories. And I think when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, like we talked about being honest and saying, hey, I screwed that up as a head coach, or, you know, that's bad coaching. I think when kids see a level of vulnerability, they're more comfortable. We allow them to be themselves within the parameters of our program. You know, and we just try to make it fun. I mean, I can honestly say we enjoy being around each other. My wife and my kids are at practices. My DC's kids are at practices. You know, it's a family-type atmosphere that once kids start peeking their head in the indoor around the corner at the practice field, it's kind of like, hey, that may be something I want to be a part of. And when you guys got guys like this who are great leaders that are then echoing that message in the hallways of, we work hard, but it's fun. And, you know, as simple as, you know, getting ice cream, getting snow cones, you know, just having fun playing football, because this is a great experience for them. And I don't want to miss that boat and cost a kid a good experience just to go win a game. I want to make sure we're keeping the main thing, and that's helping kids with their goals, with their aspirations, being good role models, and also allowing them the opportunity to have good memories to look back on like I did in high school. But they may be able to, I don't know. Did we do anything special? I didn't yell at y'all very much. So that was it.
Yeah. Got a little bit of an eyebrow raise right there. All right, guys. Well, that'll wrap it up. Really appreciate y'all coming up.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, guys.
Up next is the Pulaski Academy Bruins, led by head coach Anthony Lucas. Coach, I will throw it over to you so you can give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
Great. Welcome, guys. I'm glad to be here. Like I said last year, my first time having this setup, boy, y'all got it set up like an SEC media days in here, man. I tell you, it's awesome. Great to be here. We'll go from my right to left. We got Camp Caldwell, defensive back. We got Javion Walker, running back. William Sabota, quarterback, who was my receiver last year. And Landon O'Donnell, who was a defensive lineman, now is the O-line. So we're glad to have these guys here. I'm glad they cleaned up. I told them they better clean up and represent us well, the way they look. But no, we're glad to be here. Thank y'all for having us.
Well, Will, the million-dollar question is, you've been a great receiver, H-back, whatever you want to call it, for this offense for the past few years, and making the move over to quarterback. I think we saw Patton Wicker, a couple of years ago, came over from defensive back, played a little quarterback. So big position change this year. How's that going for you?
I mean, it's been good. I've had great receivers, great linemen that have helped me. The coaches have helped out a lot. I mean, it's been a smooth transition. We've had rough patches, but, I mean, the point where we're at right now, I feel great. I mean, we all feel great. It's been fun.
Coach, just talk about that too. It's kind of a little uncharacteristic of normal. You normally have a quarterback coming in, you have a returning quarterback and all that. Just talk about how the offense has shaped out so far.
Well, it's going pretty good. Like William said, in the spring, getting him in and making the adjustments was a little difficult. And we just told William, you play receiver. All you got to do, you transition to a quarterback. He's a very athletic kid, very smart kid. And, he's a baseball guy, too. He signed with UCA. He's going to pitch there. So we know he can throw the football. But it was tough early on, but now we're very excited where we are today with William leading our offense. I mean, he's very competitive. That's the part that I love about him. He's very competitive, and he wants to win. So we're excited about him. Very, very. We're moving in the right direction, should I say that.
And to the players, we'll start from my left over here, y'all's right. Moved up to 7A last year. You look at PA, I think you get 3, 4, 5, 6A state championships in all those classifications. And, of course, there were plenty of doubters last year going into 7A, but you guys competed really well once again, as you always do. So talk about the things that you took from that year.
Ultimately, I think the lesson was we can compete at any level. It doesn't matter what classification. I mean, Coach Lucas goes 5, 6, 7, 8, 100A. It doesn't matter who we're playing. I think we have the confidence and we have the players to continue to compete at every level that they put us at.
We've won for years, like he said, every division. Our coaching staff, like our personnel, I just think whatever division we're in, whoever we're playing, whoever we're up against, like we always have been, we're capable, like we're going to win. And, yeah.
I think we showed last year we can compete. Made it to the semifinals. We got our eyes on the state championship this year. Our culture is second to none. We really train, we really work hard, and so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, like William said, we showed last year that we could compete. We got great coaches, great players. Our coaches push us day in, day out, and I really think that this year could be the year.
Coach, your league we know is a battle, not in and not out.
Mm-hmm.
And now with Brad Bolden coming back to North Little Rock, you've got five, you being one of them, of course, you've got 5 coaches with at least one state championship on their resume, so that the league just continues to get deeper.
Yes, it gets better and better, and that's why you play the game. When we go back, I go back maybe 3 or 4 years ago and think about we knew where we were heading in this direction, the 7A, but big ups to those guys in our conference who set the tone for a guy like myself to come in. I'm going my fifth season as head coach, but I have a lot of respect for those guys. And it's whoever we look at it like this: it's the next person up, next man up. And those coaches have done a great job. Yeah, we know we play. We're in 7A, and we embrace that. This year the one thing that we've really focused on as a football team to help us be much more successful this year is in the weight room. Our kids have really bought in. We knew after having that 1 year in 7A under my belt, we knew we had to step it up in the weight room. We got to be more physical this year, and we're going to have to do whatever it takes to win this year. We're going to change some things up, special team. We're going to do a lot of different things. And as always, people can say what they want to say about Pulaski Academy. We've never been the biggest, That's never been that's not the culture at our program. But what we do as a program and as a coaching staff is get our kids to play extremely hard and to truly buy into what we do. So we are excited about that, and we know the challenges that we're going to face. I love being the underdog. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like to be on top because, boy, that's when you know people going to come after you hard. And people come after PA no matter what because they want to beat us because of the success that our program has had. But we're excited about it, and we're going to take it one day and one game at a time. But we have to be more aggressive.
Coach, you said something that just kind of threw a spark in my mind. You said you're going to change some things up, special teams. Mm-hmm. Can you expound on that in a little more detail, or are we keeping that under wraps?
I'll just say it's a secret by Victoria. You know, just get ready to come and watch and see, and not just special teams, offensively and defensively too. It's going to be a lot of different things that we're going to do. Guys, we're literally going to do whatever it takes to get back to the state championship game. I'm sorry. I love that place, and when we hadn't been in 2 years, you know, when you're used to doing something in December, and you know that kind of changes, it's different. It's different. So that's our goal. Our long-term goal is to win another state championship, whether people believe it or not. But I know this bunch that we're coming with this year, we're going to be ready to compete and ready to play.
Non-conference, even back to the Coach Kelly days when you've scheduled, and you've been on staff for a long time, y'all have scheduled out of conference, really quality out of state opponents. Yes. Of course, you start off with Joe T. Robinson. I think that started around the COVID time that y'all always open up with them. And then West Monroe, Louisiana, as well as Highland Park, Texas, which many remember, I think, 2013, sometime around
14,
there.
15 and 16.
15 and 16 ended their long home winning streak, so you've got some history there. So, you know, I mean, it's not Madison Ridgeland this year as it has been in the past, but you're going to Louisiana and Texas. So talk about those opportunities.
Well, I'm jacked about going to Louisiana. You know, when West Monroe came up here last year, my parents were like, y'all better win this game. Y'all better win this game. So, you know, that's like home. You know, I'm from Tallulah, and West Monroe was always, and that's not, you know, like the one game that we're looking at, but we're talking non-conference. But that's one game that, you know, that's personal with me. You know, West Monroe dominated when I played in high school. It was always, they were at the highest conference in 5A there, and you know, I was like, man, and they got opportunity to play them, and you know, so last year that week of practice was it was tough, and every week is, but we're looking forward to that, and then also looking forward to going back out to Dallas. We know it's going to be a hard-fought ball game out there because we're going to have to play Highland Park, that whole area of Highland Park, and we're going to have to play the refs, too, out there because I promise you that first year we played them back in the years ago, you know, we should have beat them that first in 15, but, you know, the refs helped them. I'm not going to lie. Let's be honest. But then the next year, we came out and we really didn't make it close, and that's when we ended their 84 home game winning streak. And, you know, I don't know what it is now. Right now, my focus is on getting these guys ready for fall camp as we start August the 3rd. August the 4th, and get ready for Jonesboro and our benefit game. And then we're going to take them one day and one game at a time.
As far as some of the skill players around William, you know, Javion Walker, he had some injury issues last year, but a big-time player there. Rashawn Mitchell's one you're excited about. Mason Greathouse, great receiver. You got a big one coming up in Chase Hancock, too, that's getting a lot of college attention. So talk about some of the skill players that you have.
Yes, well, you said it, Javion. I'll tell you, when he went down in that Bryant game last year, it literally – kind of changed, affected us a little bit, but you know, we're under the mindset of next man up. That's what it's always been, has been, and it's still until this day, next man up. So when we lost Javion, it was tough. And then we lost Walden Culpepper, if you remember in the MRA game, he broke his collarbone, and Mason Greathouse stepped right in, and we didn't miss a beat at receiver with him. He came in and did some exciting things. So excited about him, excited about Chase. I'm excited about Rashawn Mitchell. You know, that kid came in towards the end of the season, and you know, him and Chase, I think they were trying to compete those last two games. You know, of course, when they moved up, you know, Rashawn moved up on a Friday night, played Thursday night his last junior high game, and moved up against Southwest, and he scored a touchdown. And I think Chase was a little upset. Was like, man, I wanted to be the first one. So I love those two. Those kids going to have to help us as well, and we're excited about all those guys. Man, I'll tell you, you know, it's got a lot of growing up, still growing with those two. But these guys right here, though, ready. I don't question these, and you know, just looking forward to getting them out there and you know, and getting in pads so we can really see how we're gonna, be at this camp. But that Jonesboro scrimmage is really big for us this year, especially for William stepping in as our quarterback. And so I'm ready, ready to get going and get to that game so we can get some really good game film to kind of build off of, and William to get himself more comfortable too. So very excited about that.
Defensively, I know I'll miss somebody, but I mean, pretty much all three levels, you usually lose a key player. Defensive lineman Peyton Adams, you got a linebacker at another school now. KJ Colin was obviously massive for what you did in the secondary. So, who are some of those players that are going to step up in some of those roles?
Well, we hoping this one over here step up. Camp Caldwell will step up. Got some young corners, but some good corners. Hartford Lowe is one of our strong corners that's coming back as well, and then our younger guy Jay Riggs stepping up. I mean, we got some guys in the secondary. And our linebacker, we lost our top linebacker that was going to be coming back. But T.J. Logan, I like the way he plays. He's doing some really good things. And Broderick Nusser is going to have to step in and play big for us too. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, we moved Max Allison from linebacker we're actually moving from corner to safety now. And that kid can run and fly. I just got to see if he can tackle. I'm still worrying about him tackling, but I think he's going to be fine. So, yeah, we lost a lot defensively and offensive, too. We lost 21 seniors last year. But what we do at Pulaski Academy, we don't make excuses. It's the next man up, and we find a way. And, our excuse is finding a way to get it done with with what we have. And that's the motto. It's whatever it takes this year. So. Yeah.
Offensive line-wise, you talked about how you guys have not all your offensive linemen are always going to be an Alan Thomason or somebody like that, but you guys make up for that with good technique, physicality.
Right.
What's the offensive line looking like right now?
We're looking good. Well, this guy over here to my far left, Landon O'Donnell, was on the defensive line, who is our onside kicker, who's done an outstanding job. I want to say this and answer your question. Landon's probably going to be playing both ways. He don't really know that yet, but he probably is. This is going to be a year that, seriously, we're going to do whatever it takes. We're excited about our offensive line coming back. Luke Edwards, Pierce Phelan, Ethan Reynolds. Man, who am I forgetting, guys? Tyler Pulley. I mean, Owen Duke. Once Owen Duke is coming off of ACL surgery. I was just talking to him in the weight room the other day. I say, well, you're going to have to pick it up now. You was a lot bigger last year, but he's coming off an ACL injury, and, he'll come in to help us. But we're excited about it. Our guys, for our system and our offensive line and what we do, they do it well. Again, we're not going to be the biggest or the baddest, but for the system that we run and the guys that we have, again, like you mentioned, they're very agile. They can move, great feet, and get out in space and be dominant, and all we really need is just to get in front of somebody. That's it. If you can just get in front of them. When you got Javion Walker, you get the ball in his hands, and Chase and Mace and all those guys, and even William, because William's gonna have to be just like Brandon this year. He's gonna have to be able to run. He's gonna be flushed out of the pocket some this year, and he's gonna have to make great decisions. He knows this, so we're excited. Like I said, I'm just so ready to get camp going, and to get to that benefit game. They may not think this, but Coach Lucas thinks this benefit game is huge for us to really see the direction that our football team is going to go in. Because last year, the benefit game, when I knew our guys we were seasoned. We had a lot of guys back in there, and with Brandon and our receiver corps, I was very, very confident. I'm confident this year, but I do know that we had a lot of work to do, and now we've improved, and we're steady improving, and we're getting there. So, really excited.
All right. Fun question from left to right. What was the first football jersey that you remember putting on? It could be Pee Wee, it could be college, it could be NFL. What was the first jersey that you put on that kind of started your love for the game of football?
I think in first grade, Landon O'Donnell down there and I were on the Seattle Seahawks NFL flag football team. I think we had a losing record that year. I don't think we made it past the first round. I actually played center, and Landon played quarterback, and now that's pretty reversed. But that's the first time I ever played football, and that kind of started this 12-year journey.
When I was about 7 years old, I don't think any of these guys played with me, but I played for a team called the Grizzlies, and it was my first time playing football, and my dad was trying to get me in tackle and stuff, and I remember that first game and all the adrenaline and the rush, and after that first hit, I kind of I don't know, enjoyed it. It was just something all right, I like this. it was fun.
First jersey I ever got was an Aaron Rodgers jersey. I mean, I grew up watching him, idolized him. I mean, he plays with a fire. He plays with like passion. He really wants to win. I think I modeled my game a lot after him, and just like wanting to win in everything I do.
Yeah, like Camp said, in first grade, the Seattle Seahawks, you know, we might not have been the best, but it definitely sparked a love for the game that's lasted all the way up to here and continuing.
Coach? Y'all gonna be shocked when I say this. It was a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform helmet my parents put on me. I think I got it when I was 4 or 5 years old, maybe older than that. And I was a punter. I'm a right-handed guy, and I was a left foot punter. I don't even know who. I don't know if it was Bradshaw. I don't even think it was a Terry Bradshaw. It was just old put-together Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, and I wore that helmet. I wanted to punt the ball, but unfortunately, that wasn't what God plans for me. So I got to where I love catching the football. But you know, that was my first one. Yeah, I'll never forget that one. Pittsburgh Steelers, black and gold. Yeah.
All right, guys. We really appreciate y'all.
Oh, thank you guys for having us. Go Bruins.
All right, we're back with Coach. Sorry, we're back with Coach Burnett and Hot Springs. Coach Burnett, you guys were kind of rolling there in the middle of the season last season. Dropped the last 3 games. That's not really the standards that I know you want for Hot Springs football. Briefly talk about that last season, but how you use that as motivation coming into this year to finish those games so you can finish strong to make state playoffs.
Well, our biggest thing is that was the first year I think we had a lot of high expectations. So, we was ranked up there high. I think we got as high as number 3. So, like Coach Lucas just said, it's a difference when you're at the top of the mountain. Everyone looking up, trying to get you, and they're going to give you your best shot. Just the truth is, we just underperformed. There's no excuses. I didn't do a good job getting the guys ready. Like you said, we didn't close out right. That was the first year since I've been here we had just key injuries at the wrong time, whether it was a concussion or whether it was a shoulder injury. So anytime you have those type of things that's going on, you got to evaluate the way you work out in the weight room, the way you practice, and just making sure that we understand who we got. And we had some D-backs that both went to college that I didn't play on offense, because I was programmed with the numbers. We're going to do offense, we're going to do defense. And I thought that if I would have played them on the other side of the ball, it would have helped us out a lot. So if you notice, everything I'm saying is me, because I'm going to evaluate myself as the head coach first. Then I'm going to talk to my assistants. Then we're going to make sure our guys are in the right position to succeed. But there's no excuses for us. It wasn't the year we wanted. Not running away from it. We dropped a key game in Texarkana that we shouldn't have. We started out slow, and our guys need to have their early success. And then, you put yourself in a must-win situation when you play Lakeside, and then we just didn't gel and didn't get a job done. So, new year, new day, new group. They understand where we're going. They understand the expectations, and it's not just competing. It's not just getting to the playoffs. It's actually, making some noise and making a run. And I'm going to keep saying it because I've always been under Coach James. You always want to get to Thanksgiving. And if you get to Thanksgiving, you give yourself a chance to win a state championship. So that's the goal and that's the standards, and these guys are bought into it.
Well, you said new group. Speaking of new group, why don't you introduce the 4 guys that you brought here with you, and then tell us a little bit about them.
We got Jay Meadows right here. It's our outside linebacker. He'll play our jack linebacker, which means we'll be able to go from a 3 front to a 4 front to a 4-2-5 without changing any personnel. He started as a sophomore as a DN, played inside linebacker last year, and he'll roam all over the field. We got Louis, who's a receiver, a strong safety, running back, inside receiver. He's an athlete. It's the reason why he got the offers. He's a smart player, physical, understands both sides of the ball. We're expecting huge things from him because he's replacing 2 safeties that went on to play college, one at UCA, one at Northwestern. So he's going to have to be the quarterback back there. We got the quarterback right here, Bishop Allen, who's a gunslinger. Everyone was in love with our quarterback a few years ago at Matt Contreras. Same similarities, arm strength just as violent, IQ is high, true leader. We just backdoor PA, and I always tell these guys there's no reason we should not be the PA South and be able to line up and chunk it all over the field. We got athletes. There's no excuses. And then everyone know Big LeBron moniker, O-lineman, D-lineman. It's the reason why he got the D1 offers. He'll be going both ways as well. He'll be playing offensive tackle as well as he played D-tackle last year and got offers on that. So we got a good group. Proud of them. They allow us to coach them. They understand what's going on. They brought them in at 10 o'clock the day before the practice because we got PD, heat advisory, didn't want to cheat our junior high program. Energy was through the roof. So these guys are going to do whatever it takes to win, and we're going to take it day by day.
Bishop, coach said itself. He's putting you out there to throw it all over the field, throw it as much as possible. Just talk about the offense that you're going to be in, and the confidence that your coach has in you.
I feel like we got an explosive offense. Like, we have probably the best wide receiver core in 5A, maybe in the state. I love the O-line. We all work together. I just really don't see nobody in 5A stopping us this year. And I like how he got confidence in me. I feel like I can make every throw across the field. I'm very athletic. Everybody know I can use my legs. So I bring a lot to the table this year.
And Coach, tell us about the offense that we're going to be running here. Is it more of a get to the line, read the defense, or are you calling plays and we're running those plays?
No, I'm not calling the plays. I'm still nothing's changed. I'm still the head coach, and I'm a defensive-minded guy. But we got Coach A.J. Whitmore, who played in Nashville, all Arkansas, everything. That went to Tulsa. He'll be calling the plays. But our biggest thing is we want to throw it. And we tried to go back to the old school, what everyone want to do, run the ball, to set up the pass. We was at our best at Hot Springs a few years ago when we had those athletes, Octavius Rose, T.J. Brogdon. We had all those guys that went to go play college ball, and we was a throw it first type of guy, throw it down the field, and then we set up the run with Perry. So that's the success we have. So I'm going to be honest with you. We can go no huddle. We can go empty. We can go spread. We can go power. He's actually smart enough to where we can call a play. He got the flexibility to check it. We're actually reading it. So whether it's a third or a second level defender. So we plan on doing a lot.
Coach, look at just I know this, this particular time is about the Hot Springs Trojans, but you look at just the Hot Springs area 5 years ago where you guys were at with Lakeside, Bismarck that we had earlier in Class 3A, just were a little bit down, and now Bismarck is a 3A runner-up. Lakeside is a defending semifinalist. I know things didn't go you guys' way last year, but really Lake Hamilton was kind of the only team that really in the area that had things going. So now that's kind of happened Hot Springs wide, how big is that for the community?
Man, it's big. It makes it exciting. Like you said, Bismarck. I went to their deep run when they played Osceola because I'm still cool with Coach Hooks. Coach Rock, love his energy, good dude. We've been traveling all over the country right now with volleyball because his daughter played volleyball, mine's plays. So, and Coach Gillerin has done a good job. When he was just seconds away from winning the state championship. So ball in Hot Springs is a good thing, but it makes it competitive. Just the other day, just to be honest, we had someone ride by the school while we had opening house and, yell out to our kids that they're ready to play. So it makes it exciting. Our biggest thing is accept the challenge. Don't run from it. You know who you are. You know where we at. We want to win Garland County first, and if you do that, you give yourself a chance to make a good run.
Down here on the left, talk to us about the rest of your linebackers that you're playing with, this linebacker core, and then hit on the rest of the defense.
Yes, sir. So we got our outside linebacker, Javion Johnson. No, he's a little short, but he a thumper. He'll come and kill you, come and hit you. Then we got our other big linebacker, Antoine Berry. He about like 6 foot 2 something. He big. He'll come down and hit. He know how to play. He know how to read the defense. Then we got our other linebacker, Kalowry. He just moved here. He a new transfer, but he pretty good. Best defensive player. Then we got our other linebackers, William Crawford. He's small, short, very fast, very athletic. He know how to read the defense. Then we got Bryson Lewis. He a short sophomore, pretty good, very athletic. Come down, he'll hit too. So yeah.
All right, and this question's to all the players, and we can start right here. What's that one game last year that slipped away? Maybe not even the one that slipped away, but maybe the one that was the most fun to play in. What's that one game that you guys absolutely can't wait to get back on the field again this fall?
I can't wait to get back on the field with Alma. I think that game was very close, and we lost over a little mistake. We had multiple mistakes that game. I think we could have blew them out, but it is what it is.
I just transferred, but I'm looking forward to Arkadelphia, Parkview, and Lakeside. Those are the 3 biggest games I want to play.
Yeah, I just moved from Malvern too, so I really do want to play Arkadelphia again. That's really a big game to me.
To hit back on what LeBron said, I say Alma too. That was a very big game, a game that we should have won, but we made a few mistakes that we can fix though. So I feel like we'll be ready for them this season.
I bet you'd like to hear that, Coach. You'd like to hear the games that they say, look, we know we made some mistakes, and we know we should have won that game.
Yes, sir. That's just called owning up to their mistakes. And it's big because these guys take coaching, and Jay Meadows, we call him Smiley, he knows exactly what play it is. It's a beat-out blitz where he hit a guy for a 5-yard gain. He ended up shaking out for a 65-yard TD. We lost. So great players own up to it, coaches as well. So these guys know where they got to get to, the next step in the weight room, classroom, on the field, being leaders, and just taking every day one by one, brick by brick, practice by practice, and getting better. That's our biggest thing.
All right, that'll wrap it up with Hot Springs Trojans. Coach, we appreciate you bringing your guys up, and good luck to y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having us.
What was that first jersey that you guys put on that started your love for football? It can be Pee Wee, college, NFL jersey that you had when you were growing up. What was that first jersey that you put on that made you say, yeah, this is the game that I need to be playing?
I'll probably say when I was around like third grade, I went to one of my cousin's football games, and I put on his jersey, and I saw it, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
So when I was 4 years old, I started off playing baseball, and I loved baseball. But my pops always wanted me to try out football because he loved football. And I let him get 1 year, and I never went back after that. I played for the Las Vegas 49ers, the club team in Vegas, and I never looked back after that. I love the game.
I think my first jersey, it was probably my first grade year. It was probably Cam Newton jersey. He was my favorite quarterback growing up. He was just a dog on the field, and that's who I always wanted to be when I grew up. So it was Cam Newton.
My first jersey was when I was in Pee Wee. I think I was probably 9 years old. I used to play for Pine Bluff Mustangs, and it was my first time playing football, so I had a lot of energy. So that was why I liked football, really.
Well, mine is hometown hero, big brother. Me just putting on the England Lions jersey, representing Greg Wesley. I always wanted to, be like him, play in the NFL. Even when he played in the NFL, he came back, looked out for us, me and his brothers, Broderick and Steve. So I would say Greg Wesley when he played for England, when he played at UAPB.
All right, guys. Really appreciate y'all making the trip up.
All right, thank you.
Up next is the Jacksonville Titans. They're led by head coach Reggie Swinton. Coach, I will go ahead and pass it over to you to give your opening statement and introduce who you brought with you.
All right, so yeah, Jacksonville looking forward to a really good season. And today I got with me, I got Anthony Ross Jr., I got Mason Ball, I got Matthew Goldsberry, and then Torrey Trotter, and Jalen Foster's on the side.
Look, coming into Jacksonville first year, I mean, you're no stranger to taking over a struggling program. You were at Forest City last year, had some great improvements with that team. Just kind of talk about your message coming in into a very tough 5A Central Conference.
Well, just working hard, doing what's right when nobody is looking, making sure our players are doing the right things, building the culture that you need to win. A lot of times teams don't win because the culture is not the right culture for winning. And you have to have an administration that's ready to winning as well. And so, we're doing that right now. They're giving me everything that we need to be successful. And these players are working hard. There's no days off right now because we're so far behind. I just started in May. So whereas some teams take breaks, we don't have a chance for breaks. So we got to get there and catch up and make sure we put a good product out this year.
And starting from my left over here for the players, I just want to get y'all's take on how things have gone so far. Mason, I'll have you add a little bit more just because, I know Now, some of you might as well, but I know Coach Reggie, and obviously you were a big part of what Jacksonville did last year. So, and anybody else that did, forgive my ignorance here, but basically anybody that did have that experience previously with the team, you can add a few things, but just from my left all the way down, we'll just kind of get how things have gone so far with the transition.
Well, practice has been going great. We've been making a lot of improvements from last year, and I'm looking forward to this season.
Yep. Based on what he said, practice been going great. We all hustling to the ball, basically doing the slow things first. We taking it slow, getting with the plays right. Coach Reggie, he know how to run his plays, so we ain't even put everything that we supposed to do yet.
And so one of the main things I can point on today is Coach Reggie. He always been a winner, and then the most thing we've been improving on is winning. Was learning how to win in practice. How it's been just hustling with enthusiasm and just really learning how to win as a team.
I've been with Coach Reggie since I was 7 years old. We always had that winning culture around. I just transferred in, so I'm looking to win. I come from winning. I'm used to winning.
For those that didn't see, some of the things that y'all did at Forest City last year, what we're going to see, without giving away too much, some schematically things offensively and defensively.
Well, defensively, we have Hunter Vincent. He's a great defensive coordinator, came in from Whitehall. He knows his stuff. And so our defensive flies to the ball. We had a great team camp last week at Mills. And offensively, it's like if you give me a lot of cars, I got a lot of toys to play with. And we have a lot of toys to play with here in Jacksonville. So one thing about it, our fans will have a reason to cheer this year. And some people say I'm cocky, I'm arrogant and all that. Well, I am, because I believe in what I can do, and I believe in what we can do. And we have some ball players in Jacksonville that's been overlooked, and that will take place no longer. In fact, I picked these 4 guys because these 4 guys have offers to colleges. So this is why I picked these 4 guys to come today. And we're looking forward to a very exciting season in Jacksonville this year.
We'll touch on your non-conference, but just back to that 5A Central, extremely tough league. Joe T. Robinson's kind of been the standard of it in recent years. Maumelle brings a good bit back. They've improved a lot under Coach Mop each year. From just what you've seen so far of the conference, talk about the depths of it.
Well, it's tough. I mean, you got, again, Joe T. Robinson has a lot of great players over there. Maumelle, same thing. And, of course, I'm new to 5A, so I got to get adjusted to that. And we're taking no one for granted, but we also fear no one. Those guys put their pads on just like us. And one thing I will tell you is that every team we play is going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight. And we're going to show up every Friday night, and we're going to leave out knowing that we gave our best effort, and hopefully with some W's.
I know that last year was your first one, at least was a head coach at the varsity level, but you obviously played, as Mason said, you played a little ball in your life, you've coached a little ball in your life. What were some of the main things that you took from your first year of varsity ball?
Well, I watched film on myself this offseason, and I had some tendencies that luckily 4A didn't pick up on last year. And so without giving it away, there'll be some things that I did last year that will be differently, but there'll be some things that will be the same. I mean, when you have these type of players that all 4 have college offers, they're special for a reason, and they have offers for a reason. And so, schematically, we're going to dial up a lot of formations, and we have some players that can go get it. And so we're going to test a lot of teams this year.
And for the players, again, as Coach said, getting a lot of college attention. What are some things that you could give to recruiting? We talked about this a little bit over the past couple of days. As recruiting is a lot different, really, over the past 5 years, as I'm sure you guys have noticed. And what is a piece of advice that you could give to somebody going through that might be struggling a little bit through the process?
I say get a Twitter. Well, that's the one. Get a Twitter and just post you gotta run off the ball. Even though you're not getting the ball, you still gotta do the basic stuff like block. Make sure you're not taking no plays off, and the coaches will pick up on it. And make sure you be up to date on Twitter. Like when you go to a team camp, post your Twitter and add different coaches and all that.
My main thing would be practice how you play. A lot of impressions can be made off of film from practice, and whenever you practice how you play, it'll make you better in the game as well. So that'll be my main thing.
I say this: you are your brand, and social media is a big thing for recruiting nowadays. And you want to present yourself the best way you can on social media.
Kind of what he said, promoting yourself is a big deal now. Promote yourself. Social media is free. Promote yourself.
And it's funny you asked that question because we had a meeting this morning and I spoke about social media. And I spoke about, branding yourself, putting yourself out there. I'm gonna do all I can. If you ball, I call. And, that's my motto. And, again, there's a lot of teams in the state that overlook some of these players. And so it's my job as a coach to reach out to every single coach I can to get these guys offers. And I think Mason has, 7 offers? I think 5 Power 5, Power 4 offers. I think he's one of the top 227 backs in the state. And so, but teams will be focusing on him, but that's fine because we got him and we got more. So I'm looking forward to our season. And, again, we fear no one. We're going to come out and dominate, and that's a promise.
You look at your non-conference side. The conference season opener just walked in with the Malvern Leopards. Made a lot of great strides last year under Coach Fogelman in his first year. Lone Oak, I know a team you're familiar with. They're expected to be well improved, as well as DeWitt. I know they've added some pieces. So just talk about that 3-game slate that you've got.
Well, we talked about Malvern today, and it's funny Malvern's here. You have to always respect Malvern. Malvern's been a winning school for years, and my good buddy Marjorie Hill played there, and he and I be talking about Malvern all the time. So you can never overlook Malvern. They're always a powerhouse. Then Lone Oak, they beat me last year, and I don't forget how that's the only team I didn't score on last year. And so I don't forget things like that. And then DeWitt has a new coach, a new system, and so they also have a lot to learn. And so our non-conference schedule is tough, but so are we.
And you talked about some of the players getting college offers along with them. Who are some others that we need to look for this year?
You mean players?
Yeah, just as far as teams, names that we'll be hearing on Friday nights.
You got Mizell Davis, I could name, plenty of kids that's been overlooked by the state. But Mizell Davis, awesome receiver. You got Mike Mathis. And I'm still learning names because I'm still new. But Mike Mathis, Jalen Foster, quarterback over here. I can name many guys. And we got some linemen that's really good. Trenton Dunbar, our center, is going to be a good one. And so I'm looking forward to what these guys put out there. Again, these guys have been used to losing. And like I always say, when you're used to losing, you're used to losing. But also when you're used to winning, you're used to winning. And I'm used to winning. And so what I've done is brought my winning ways into Jacksonville. And like I made a promise, I said, we are going to the playoffs. The same thing I said in Forest City, and no one believed me. And we went to the playoffs. I told Jacksonville the same thing. I'm nothing short of confidence.
Last question. What is that first jersey that you guys wore that created your love of the game of football? Pee Wee, NFL, college. What was that first jersey for you that, gave you that love for football?
Y'all better say my jersey with the Cowboys. You better say a Cowboys jersey with my number on it. No, I'm playing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
For real, though. I've always looked up to my dad. He was an amazing athlete. He actually made it to Ole Miss before tearing his knee up.
My first jersey was really my dad's. My dad owned the Pee Wee team, and they was called the Wild Hogs. So I started when I was 6.
My first jersey was the blue and green from the Lions under Coach Reggie. I think it was about 6, 5.
Same. I was starting when I was 7. Coach Reggie. Same jersey.
What about you, Coach?
My first jersey was a Cowboys jersey. I've been a Cowboy fan all my life, so to be able to actually get a chance to play for the Cowboys and do what I did, that was special. So having that Cowboys jersey on when I was a little boy, I can remember that running around the house. And so God does let dreams come true.
And real quick, just your assessment of the Cowboys for this upcoming season. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, you got jokes. Well, Kyle knows how I feel about them. how can I put this in a nice way? If we had someone that could lead our team the right way, I think we'd have a chance. And I'm talking about number 4. I'm just not a fan of number 4. I think he's a good quarterback, just not a fan of number 4. And I think that we have talent, but if you don't have a leader that can lead you where you want to go, you're not going far. So do I believe in the Cowboys? I believe in their name, but I don't believe we'll win a lot of games this year. But I still support them.
All right, that'll wrap things up, guys. Really appreciate you coming over.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're up next with Coach Fogelman and the Malvern Leopards. Coach Fogelman, second year of your second stint at Malvern. Last year, really good year, great year. You guys came up short, and really, you know, one of your 2 losses all year long was to the eventual state champion. You know, talk about that success that you had in your first year of your second stint at Malvern.
Well, I think, Coach Swinton tapped on a little something. He said Malvern's just a little bit, there's tradition there. And so, it wasn't something we had to try to build when I came in. We just piggybacked right on up, a couple of years removed from a state championship under Coach Plumlee. And so, we went in and told the seniors that, they had such a large group before them leave that we had an emphasis that maybe expectations wouldn't be so high. So we had a good off season, and those guys went into it, and to come out 11-2, and I think we surpassed our expectations, as a staff, right? We knew we had some pieces, but the guys did a great job.
Introduce the guys you brought along with you today.
Well, we got Devin Janelle. They asked their positions a second ago, and we had to give him one, but he does a lot of things for us. He's a running back, he's a tight end, plays linebacker. Kalen Cooper over here is returning wide receiver. He's probably going to see a lot more time on defense as well this year at corner. Now we got Kyler Wright over here. He was starting defensive end for us last year, will be quarterback for us this year, and obviously we'll still be playing some defensive end. And then Brandon Jackson on the end, returning starter defensive end. So, these guys, one of the reasons they've been, brought with this, they've been really good workers this offseason. In the summer, they've been up there almost every day doing the things they've asked. So I feel like we got some good representation here.
Kyler, there's not too many players across the country that are two-way players at quarterback and defensive end. Now, you didn't play quarterback last year, correct?
No, sir.
Have you? But you have played quarterback in the past at some point, correct?
Yes, sir.
When's the last time you have played quarterback?
I believe it was 9th grade.
Okay, so not that long ago.
No.
Well, just talk about the offseason. You transfer, coming in and transfer and get back to that quarterback position. What all you did in the offseason to work?
Well, I mean, I worked at both positions still in the off season, and just, at home I had my little 3-spot up, throwing in the backyard, just throwing a little extra, getting my arm back in shape to be throwing a football 24/7.
Gotcha. Now, who would rather you be a traditional one-way player, your offensive coordinator or your defensive coordinator?
Probably my offensive coordinator.
I gotcha. Okay, I want to start down here. Talk about what you guys have a pretty good group coming back from last year, but talk about coming in the off season, embracing some new leadership roles. Not just individually, but as a position group. What'd you guys really work on in the off season to accept that new leadership role?
I have to say, like leadership mainly, because like last year I didn't really take it that serious, but like I realized I had to step in and like play that role to be a leader, and so I felt like that helped us a lot.
I led the receiver room last year, so it really ain't no different from me.
Oh, wait, what? I mean, it's just showing up every day and working hard.
I would have to say, like, communication's key. Like, I always communicate with the younger guys in the D-line room, seeing what they're doing, like, seeing why they wasn't at practice. And sometimes they even ask me, hey, can you text coach? I'm not going to be there. I'm like, no, I can't do that. And also keeping everybody focused in the weight room so my group, we stay on task and getting things done.
Coach, you got your quarterback and wide receiver flanked on either side of you, but tell us some of the names of the other, skill positions that we're going to see this fall.
Well, Tavian Clegg's returning tailback as well. He went down with an injury, and I hate that for him, but at the same time, it gave guys like Devin and a whole group of guys really stepped up running back. Jabari Jacobs, another one that will be in the mix. He can play quarterback, receiver, D-back. So, we feel like we got some skilled players experience. As far as receivers, Kalen's our leading receiver returning, and David Hutchins has come over from defense. He plays some slot receiver for us. So that's going to be new. A couple of young guys maybe on the outside. So some of these guys have experience, but they're changing positions. So it's almost as if they're starting over.
And since it all starts in the offensive line, what about your offensive line?
Offensive line, it's the same thing. We had a couple of injuries last year, which you don't like, but it did give some guys the opportunity to play. We got some seniors, Hunter Robinson at tackle. Who like Kyler is a multi-sport, and Kalen, these guys over here play basketball as well. Hunter does baseball. So we've got a couple of guys on coming back on the offensive line. Same thing as the defensive line. Elijah Jones is back. We've already mentioned Brandon over here. So we do have some experience on the line. And if you got to have a spot that, within experience, you'd rather it be your skill guys and experience on the linemen. So we do feel like our line does have some more experience than our skill guys.
Gotcha. And Coach, since you had all that success last year, what have you stressed in the offseason to not have a letdown this year?
Exactly. That's been a focus. You can't be complacent. And just because you have returning starters doesn't guarantee success. There were 4 games last year that could have gone either way. And there's a big difference right there, between 7 wins and 11 wins. We managed to win those 4 close games. When you win a close game, you can go back and watch film and find a place where you got a break probably. Whether it be a call or just the bounce of the ball. So you never know how those things are going to go. So you just can't be complacent. You just can't assume because you got guys coming back that you're going to automatically have success.
Coach, I'm going to ask about your league, 4A7. Just such a brutal draw there, and last year, obviously, Arkadelphia won the state championship and everything. And then, of course, look at them, you guys, Nashville that we'll have here in a little bit. They've got Brad Chesser coming in that did a lot of great things at Murfreesboro. Fountain Lake's a little bit older, had a lot of youngsters last year. So just talk about how it's, at least on paper, going to be a little bit deeper than last year, kind of like we've seen in the past.
Right. You've already mentioned Arkadelphia. It's going to be Arkadelphia. They got the same stuff coming back, and they do a great job there. Nashville is expecting things. You know, I said some close games. That was one of the games we won there in overtime. So, you know, that's another tough one. But you also mentioned Fountain Lake. You got some really good receivers and quarterback, and then Bauxite. You know, I know there was high expectations last year. I think people are overlooking them this year, and I know that I think they'll be good, and there will probably more depth. The Dead T at Haskell Harmony Grove. I mean, who wants to play against that? They do a great job there running that Dead T, so that's always tough.
Now, closing up with a question to the players, and I ask this question to a lot of teams, and I try to, I figure some teams I know the answer to, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer here. But what's that one game, guys, that maybe slipped away last year, that you just can't wait to get back on the field and play that team again this year? We can start down here.
I'd say Arkadelphia, sure.
Arkadelphia.
Definitely Arkadelphia.
I would say Arkadelphia, you know.
Figured that, Coach.
Yeah.
Well, this will close it up. We appreciate you guys. Malvern Leopards, you guys have a good luck the rest of the year, okay? Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Up next, we've got the Morrilton Devil Dogs, led by head coach Cody McNabb. And, Coach, I'll pass it over to you to give your opening statement, introduce who you brought with you.
No, I appreciate you having us. Looking forward to when it gets hot like this outside. I think it makes all of us gear up for two-a-days. And finally it's turned that way, and excited for this year's football season. To my right here, I got Darian Tony Gay, plays defensive end for us. Landon Boyer plays linebacker. Maddox Berry, quarterback, and Dante Cox on the end plays wide receiver.
We'll just go ahead and start with your league last year. A lot of crazy things. I think you guys started 7-0, and then you had the Farmington game that I think Maddox and Aiden are probably still throwing touchdowns and getting yards. That was nuts. And then I know both of those with the Bologna game as well. It came up a little short, but just talk about that season. I mean, it was just crazy. It was obviously great for you guys, but just a lot of, I guess you could say, thrilling moments in the 5A West.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the two games that we lost late, both very close games. And, even the Valley View game, we come up short and in overtime. So, played well in a lot of games. But you look at several of the games we won, early in the season were very close games. Russellville was close. Greenbrier was close. Alma was close. So it kind of evened out for us. But, you know, a lot of it I put on myself. We were a team that ended up where we could score. We had to go fast and get the possessions up, and I didn't do a very good job developing depth on defense. When you score like that, you better have some depth because you're going to play a lot more snaps on defense, and I felt like that hurt us later in the year. I thought we were a little bit worn down, so really tried to attack that in the off season where we've got a good rotation coming into the year. Obviously got a lot of returning players, a lot of returning starters, guys that have played a lot of football in their high school career, which makes it easier. And you can bring the young guys along and develop some depth. So I really think we'll have I think we've done the kids have done a good job of that in the off season. And trying to get that depth that I think you need to play a long season like we did last year.
For the players, we'll start from y'all's right over here. Going off of what Coach just said, what are some things that y'all took into the offseason, you know, having some skids there at the end to really make sure that doesn't happen again going into 2025?
Take the strength and conditioning very seriously so we can be in shape to play our best game as a team and learn to fight through adversity when times get hard.
I would have to say just holding each other accountable. There's a lot of times it'll get tough doing conditioning and stuff, and we just gotta, be a team. We're a family, and we're gonna pick each other up and help us keep going.
I'd say just working every day and win the day. I think, whether it was overlooking a game or overlooking a week of practice, and then next thing you know, it slips up on you and it costs you really bad. So I think just this year making sure obviously you said we have a lot of leadership in the team, so holding each other accountable, just winning the day and see how it goes.
I would say similar to what Maddox said, leadership's a big role in our team. We definitely needed a lot more of that, the leadership role, especially for the younger guys rolling in. Like Coach said, we have a lot of guys returning from the starting group of last year, a lot of juniors, now seniors. But I think a big thing that we need to focus on is the minor things, fixing the minor things that will help eventually fix the bigger things, like winning more often.
Talking about that production coming back, and Maddox, I'll get your take on this too, but Coach, you've got a lot of receivers coming back. You got, I think, three or four offensive linemen returning, so a lot there offensively. So I know you guys are excited to have more fireworks.
Yeah, we do, and we've got 3 out of 4 receivers coming back. We've got 2 what I feel like are really good running backs that will complement. We hope Maddox's numbers aren't what they were last year, that we've got a little more balance to our offense and are able to run the ball when we need to. And I think that's gonna. I can see us coming around with that, and obviously offensive line is a huge part of that, being able to have that kind of balance because you never know, especially as you get in late in the season, if you're lucky enough to have that playoff run, teams that throw it all the time can run up against a bad weather night and can certainly ruin your season. So I think having that balance on offense is going to help us. But obviously we've got what we feel like are some good weapons, and I think we're getting better up front all the time. And I love to hear what these guys said. I thought each of them attacked something that we have been talking about in the off season, from leadership to accountability to preparing your body. And a lot of those things that we have been talking about, being process driven, like Maddox said, of just trying to get better, and all the rest of it takes care of itself. So glad to hear that they've been listening anyway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got 3 or 4 guys that were seniors last year that were a big part of the offense, but it's been fun just seeing guys compete for those spots. We've got 6 or 7 guys that are going at it, and I think we're going to have a lot of depth this year, and I think that'll help. So overall, I think we're set pretty good.
And how about defensively? You got a good bit returning on that side as well. How's that all coming along?
Well, that was a big thing. obviously that was something that we know we have to be better at. We really tried to focus in the off season, did a lot of tackling stuff to try to make us better at that. We feel like if we can just improve on some of the, I don't think we were that far off defensively. Like I said, I think I know the numbers don't look like that, but it's I think the depth will help. I think it will help keeping guys fresh, especially early in the season. And I know that there is a group of kids on that defense that are ready to come out and prove and show that we have gotten considerably better on that side of the football.
And I know as competitors, you don't really care where the game is played, but obviously, you know, you love those home games and everything. You've got trips to Harrison, you got trips to Farmington this year, but you got an early season trip to Arkansas High. Leroy Hood's taking over at that program. So that's going to kind of prepare you there for some of the long road trips that you do have.
No, I think I thought that would come up. I see the same thing you do. You know, you've got to, when you're in the 5A West, you know you got to beat Greenbrier to be up there in the conference, or always in that playoff mix. And then, of course, the big game against Farmington, we go to their place this year. We do go to Arkansas High. Coach Hood played for me at Arkansas Tech, so he and I go way back, and I know we played really well in that game last year. And but I know Coach Hood's going to have those guys ready when we roll down there. So some tough games go to Russellville, where it has been a long time since Morrilton has beat Russellville at Russellville. And so some tough games on the road, but thankful that we do have, when you've got an experienced team, I think that gives you a better chance on the road. I think this group, and you know, it's fun to watch them grow just as people, you know, and you can see the leadership from guys that didn't say much a year ago, and you can tell they're stepping up and filling those voids this year, and we've got 31 seniors, which is a lot more than we normally have at Morrilton. So I think that kind of senior leadership and that kind of experience will help us as we had to play some tough games on the road.
I know there's been some schools I've missed this question on as far as, like, you know, just overall good athletic programs. But you look at you guys coming off a 9-win season. Boys basketball just came up short to Mills last year.
Darian
right.
played in that game.
Went to the state championship game. Obviously, your wife has done a phenomenal job with the girls program in the state a couple of years ago. Softball won a state championship recently. And then, of course, you got Mike Lee leading the baseball program.
That's
now.
right.
Great guy there.
And soccer was in the state finals too.
You're adding on to it. So all that success. Talk about how that breeds success just within an athletic program at a school.
Oh, I think you're exact. I think winning breeds winning. You know, and I know we love to see kids. We would love to have kids in our weight room all the time and doing football. You'd love that, but the competitive part of it, you know, is so important. You know, I see a guy like Darian get a lot of confidence as he plays and has a good basketball season. I see Maddox was a all-state player on the baseball team. Landon played baseball this year. I saw him improve, and Dante was on the soccer team that went to the state finals. And I think when you've got kids, when you've got players that compete like they compete in all facets, you know, it's not, you don't wake up on a Friday and become a competitor. That is a lifestyle decision, and it's really neat to see these guys, for me as the football coach, to go to a baseball game and root for those guys in soccer and basketball, and just to see those guys compete and the toughness. I think there's something about football that gives you toughness. It's played in the heat. Every gym we have is air conditioned now, you know, and there's not many sports that take place this time of year out in the heat, and you're wearing a bunch of pads and you're hitting on each other, and the toughness that brings, I think they can take that to other sports and really contribute from a toughness standpoint.
Last question. What was that first jersey that you guys put on that started your love for the game of football? It could be Pee Wee, NFL, college. what was that first jersey that you put on that made you say, yeah, this is the game that I'll play for the rest of my life, or at least first half of my life?
For me personally, it was my 7th grade jersey, number 38. That's when I first started playing football, and I enjoyed just how the game is played and the physicality and the toughness required to play this game. So I would say my 7th grade jersey.
For me, it started when I was playing football in 4th grade. I actually had the 36 jersey, and I've had it my whole high school career. And my dad wore 36 when he was in high school, and I look up to him a lot, and he's helped me so much. And this number just means a lot to me.
Yeah, going along with Darian, I also started in the 7th grade, and just seeing my love for the game of football increase every single day that I get to go out and compete with other guys and stuff like that. So yeah, starting in 7th grade, that's when I love for the game of football started.
I'm more on Landon's path, starting in 4th grade with him. I originally started with 5. That was my original jersey. I was also a defensive nose guard, which is very far away from where I am now at wide receiver. And yeah, just being there at that young age, being able to play with my friends, being able to continue to compete and continue to have fun, it just ignited my love in 4th grade.
Coach, what about you?
Well, that was it's been a long time ago. But I think the fact that we've been at Morrilton for 16 years, it's that has been a very special place. We've raised our kids like you said. My wife's done a great job. She's the head girls coach, and I just take a lot of pride in seeing these guys. I say it every year. I talk to 7th graders that are going to be, or 6th graders going to be 7th grader. I tell them, there is nothing like running out of that tunnel on a Friday night and seeing the pride that these guys, like they just told you, have all played, and most of that class is all they've known is Devil Dog football. And that part, we still have enough of the small town, blue collar, fired up about Friday night football atmosphere, and it's just that part jumps to me is just the pride that they take in wearing that Devil Dog jersey.
All right, that'll wrap things up, guys. Really appreciate you coming up, coming down.
All right, we're back with Coach Overton, Mansfield Tigers. Coach, you guys dropped your first 2 out of 3, I think, last year, and then just went on an unbelievable run, losing to the eventual state champions. You know, just give us, for those watching that aren't aware, just give us a brief rundown of that season last year. But then also, how you can make sure you don't, through the offseason, your guys don't have a letdown by just like, oh, we won last year, so we're going to win again this year automatically.
But it was an incredibly special run. When you're playing the likes of Booneville and Charleston and you beat those guys, which is not, it's pretty rare at Mansfield. Hadn't beat Booneville in 44 years, only beat Charleston a handful of times through the years. It was obviously a real special run for us. And so the tremendous amount of support that we had from the community was awesome. Everybody was there on Friday nights. And so that was a really special deal. And being a hometown guy, being from Mansfield, obviously that made it more special. But as far as any kind of letdown from these guys, I mean, we fell short of our goal. We wanted to be in Little Rock in December, and we didn't make it there. And these guys have not let up. They are hungry, they are fired up, they are ready to compete again this season. And we want to reach that ultimate goal of being in Little Rock in December.
Well, introduce the guys you brought with you and tell us a little bit about each one.
Start down here, Xander Walters. He was an all-state linebacker and offensive lineman for us. He's been a 2-year starter. All these guys have been 2-year starters. And so Xander's a tremendous leader, tremendous energy guy for us. Then next you have Logan Orr. He plays tackle, and then he's moving to linebacker as well. He probably our best weight room guy, gets after it every single day, holds guys accountable. He's a leader on and off the field. Then you have Andrew Burton. Again, another all-state guy for us, plays both ways, started a ton of football games. Played the second half of the season really on one leg, showed a tremendous amount of toughness, still had over 1,100 yards on the season. And then Ethan Martin on the end, another all-state guy that we got returning, senior, plays defensive end and is our center. And anybody that's, knows the flexbone offense, the center's the guy you got to have that can handle a lot of different guys, and he does a tremendous job of that as well.
You don't see too much flexbone around anymore, Coach. That's what we ran in high school. You lost your quarterback. Am I correct
yes,
in that?
Sir.
The quarterback in a flexbone offense just has to have an unbelievable high IQ. Who's going to be your guy this fall?
Well, we're still in the midst of figuring that out. We've got 2 guys that are competing for it. The first one is Cooper Edwards. He's going to be a senior. He's competed at that spot for the last 2 years with Jeremy, who was a senior who graduated. And the biggest thing with Cooper is he knows the offense. He can do all the stuff. He is a great trigger man and has that passing threat that we've kind of lacked the last couple of years. And then we got to move in Jubal Parks. He's come in this spring and he's like a sponge, man. He just soaks it all up. And has done a great job and has really competed with Cooper for that spot. And we're still trying to figure it out. There's some days where I'm like, we're going to go with one guy over the other, and then the other guy steps up. So, we've been in a lot of team camps this summer trying to figure that stuff out, and it's going to go on into the fall, that position battle.
And this is directed mainly to the players. You guys lost production, but you have a lot coming back, including you guys, and coaches just rattling off all of your accolades. But you've got new roles, right? New leadership roles, new senior roles. We can start down here. Just talk about what you guys have done in the offseason to embrace those roles and then try to lead along some of the younger guys that are going to be stepping into some production roles that they haven't had before in the past.
Definitely. We've worked on our conditioning, staying as hyped all the way through a game since we play both sides, and staying in the weight room because we have to be strong because, again, we play both sides and we play the entire game. There's no breaks. You got to be tough, really tough. Working on our fatigue levels all the time, and that's the way we play.
Yes, sir. I would have to say with the fatigue levels that he was just talking about, we have to really push the young ones, make sure they have their full capacity of being able to play against the ball on both sides. Once we really looking forward to once we graduate, seeing what they can produce. That's definitely what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, same here. We've been hitting the weight room really hard. And even with the junior high kids, because I got some brothers in junior high, so there's probably about 10 of us that work out extra a lot. And that really helps when you play both sides. You just got to be in tremendous shape. And we've been trying to get a lot faster, too, because we lost a lot of speed last year. So that's what we've been working on.
Yeah, so the main thing I think we do is we hit the weight room. I mean, the past 2 weeks, we've been 3 days, 3 workouts. This week was probably the hardest workout we do, 5 sets of 5. And we push each other to get through that 5 sets of 5, like repping it out. Sometimes we'll have breaks, but we try to push each other, make sure that we keep our stamina up and we keep like gaining strength over the off season.
And Coach touched on in the opening there, there's back-to-back 11-win seasons, just 2 phenomenal years for your program. But I know beating Boonville was obviously a big one for you personally, but also for I think this was the first time for Mansfield in since the mid-'80s or something like that. So wins of that magnitude, how does that take a program to the next level?
Well, I think it just shows, one, the little guys, the younger guys, our junior high. You know, we just had a Little League camp this week. And those guys want to be a part of those things. You know, when we beat Boonville, the whole community rushed the field at the end. And so those guys see that, and they want to experience those things too. And so just the buy-in that we have from our younger guys, our junior high program, our Little League programs, that means all the world to me, because I was one of those kids that came up through that stuff. And so to see the excitement on our community and the support that we've gotten, you know, other than me just personal reasons, it was just something that, you know, a lot of people in the community, you know, older gentlemen that come up to me and, you know, hey, I was on that 82 team. Hey, you know, it's been a long time. You can almost get emotional because those guys have lived and died with your program.
Coach, can you highlight some of the guys on the offensive side of the ball that, you know, maybe didn't bring here today that we're going to hear their names on Friday nights?
Well, I think y'all kind of touched on it. You talked about the production that we lost with Daniel Burton, Samuel Burton, those guys. Well, their younger brothers are replacing them. And so Silas and Jeremiah, we moved up as a 9th grader towards the end of the season to give us some depth. Those guys have bought in, and they have the best coaches because, like Andrew said, you know, he's played a halfback for us. Daniel played halfback for us. Samuel did. And so those guys are getting not only coaching from us, but they get coaching from their brother too. And so those guys have had tremendous summers. And we're really looking forward to, you know, those guys showing out this fall, because we don't feel like we're having a whole lot of drop off, even though a lot of people around the state probably think we are. We think we're going to be right back where we were last year.
And what about the defensive side as well?
Defensively, we've kind of shuffled some guys around. Those positions are a little bit harder to replace. You know, you lost a Dakota Deer, who was an all-state defensive lineman, who was just a wreck. And then Jeremy Strozier, who had a lot of tackles and was a tough guy. Again, he played quarterback as well. Those positions, Logan's kind of stepped up into that linebacker role, but trying to find some secondary guys has been one of our things that we've been working on a lot this summer, and trying to find the right combination of corners and safeties that can step up, because we lost a lot of production from those spots. Some guys that come to mind, Jeremiah Silas, Trevin Hadaball had a tremendous last couple weeks at corner. Jubal could be in there. Jubal Parks could play that safety role. So there's a lot of guys that we're still trying to figure those positions out, and it'll come down to, you know, summer camp or fall camp to get those positions nailed down.
Final question to the players. I ask this a lot to a lot of teams. You know, what's that one game you guys had last year that maybe slipped through your fingers, that you lost, that you just know you should have won, or that one game that you won but it was just a whole lot of fun to play? What's that one game on the schedule this fall that you just can't wait to lace them up and play?
Definitely Boonville. It is pure who is stronger, who is tougher, who has who has the most conditioning, who wants it more. That is the team I'm most excited about.
Yes, sir. I definitely have to agree with that one as well. Boonville, beat them once. Once we play them again this season, if we beat them again, it definitely proves on who wants it more. And I definitely have to say we want it more.
I would say Charleston. I know a lot of people from Charleston, and we beat them last year, but they beat us every year before that, so I would say Charleston.
I mean, I want to beat Bismarck this year. I mean, it kind of slipped from our fingers last year. We were like neck and neck all year, or all game. And it was like, we just didn't condition enough, and that's what we've been doing this year. Get back at them. And it's going to help us with our other games like Boonville or Charleston and everybody else in the conference.
And we've asked just about every coach, especially in 3A, that made a decently deep run. Obviously, you guys did make a deep run, but that classification as a whole, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's first round, second round. It is just a gauntlet no matter who you play. So talk about your experience as a head coach just going through that a couple of times.
Hell, there's no weeks off, especially when you get, we tried to schedule up, obviously Bismarck, starting off the season with those guys, a tremendous job Coach Keithley's done. And so you get tested right away. And, I mean, we were coming up here, we were listening to the Dumas guys. They got a ton of talent. Salem's brings back seemingly everybody. Boonville and Charleston are who they are, ton of talent. Coached extremely well. Rivercrest, OC, I mean, you go down the line, there's no easy weeks. And I mean, these 4A guys will probably think that they're the toughest, but I mean, top to bottom, there's not a whole lot of easy weeks in 3A, especially once you get into those later playoff rounds. There's just tremendous coaching, tremendous players, and it's exciting. You want to be there at the end. And if you win those games, you feel like you've really accomplished something.
All right, guys. We really appreciate y'all coming over.
Thank you.
All right, up next is the Nashville Scrappers, led by head coach Brad Cheshire. And, Coach, I will pass it over to you to introduce who you brought with you and give your opening statement.
We appreciate you guys having us over here. We had the opportunity. I had the opportunity to come last year, and you guys do such a good job of just covering all sports across our great state. And so very thankful for y'all and the opportunity that you've given me to be able to promote our program, our school, our kids. And so thank you. I'll start with Tucker Dixon down there on the end. I've got three seniors with me. Tucker Dixon, who is a running back, started last year as a running back, played quite a bit as a sophomore, and so he'll continue to do that as well as a senior. Mekhi Johnson, we call him MJ. This will be a third-year starter at defensive end, and Braden Irby will be a two-year starter, played a lot as a sophomore as well. that plays defensive end, mixes in, can play some interior, can pretty much play anywhere on the defensive line. So very excited about these three dudes. There's a lot more at home that deserve to be sitting up here as well. But these three right here do a tremendous job for us and our program and work extremely hard.
I know you've been asked once or twice about coming home. Now you've been here, through the off season and everything. Obviously, we're a great player here. You won a state championship as an assistant and too as a player. Now that everything's kind of calmed down, I say calmed down, but now that you're kind of in a groove, about to start a season, just how has the community just welcomed you back?
Did y'all hear what he said? He said I was a great player there. Did y'all hear that? Thank you, Kyle. Means a lot. I was far from being a great player. Very average. But anyways, I've said this 100 times, and I'm sure people get tired of hearing me say this, but it is an honor and a privilege to be the head coach at Nashville. This was a dream of mine. You hear people that may say, living their dream, or I'm living mine, and so it was always something that I wanted to do that I never thought I would have the opportunity to do. And so, I always wanted to walk in Billy Laird's shoes, and Coach Billy Dawson, those guys that helped raise me. And so, but it's been really good. The transition has been very smooth. I've been to a few schools and I guess 5 or 6, but the transition has been fairly smooth. And, obviously it makes it easy that most of these kids coming in knew who I was or knew a little bit about me. And you're getting old when you went to school or even graduated with some of the dudes in high school I'm coaching now. And so, that helped. Just their families knew who I was, mom and dads, aunt and uncles, grandma, grandpas. And so, but, I'm trying to bring as much excitement to the community of Nashville as I can, trying to make sure that these kids have a coach that cares about them, that loves them, that wants them to succeed on and off the field. And but I can't say enough about the support that the community has given us this far. I know Mansfield's head football coach just right before me was talking about their youth camp, that they've had over the past week. Well, we're actually hosting a youth camp, hosted it Monday and Tuesday, off tonight, and we'll finish tomorrow night. But we had 107 kids there last night, and so and a bunch of mamas and daddies and aunt and uncles and grandma and grandpas in the stands watching. And so, that's just the culture that we want, and that level of excitement and pride in our program is what we want. And so it's been really good, and I'm excited to see what the future looks like for us.
So the players, obviously he just said it right there. I know you guys have heard it since he got on campus, how passionate he is about this school and this program. Y'all have endured some coaching changes, and I know that's really tough. Coach Chesser understands what that's like as well. So what has been some of the message that are some of the messages that he has given to you guys coming in about coaching stability and just buying into his culture?
He has definitely helped us out a bunch on this team. He's lifted us up and has helped us get through a lot of things.
Well, to me, since he came in, it's been like family. He's been like a trust in me. He's nice. He's coaches hard, and I feel like he have us ready for this year.
His mentality coming in has just been great, telling us what we need to do, what we need to get better at, and just his overall charisma that he has.
Two of the position groups that you're going to be seeing a lot of new faces, wide receiver and secondary. Talk about just kind of how all that is unfolding.
Very inexperienced at those positions. We've had a really good month of July in 7-on-7, having the opportunity to, a lot of people, when it comes to team camps and 7-on-7s in the summer, it's one of those, well, are you doing it just to do it or do you need it? And this year we needed it really bad. And so we had 4 7-on-7 events. And, the first 7-on-7 event, the first Tuesday in July was awful. I mean, we didn't look good at all. And, we went back and watched the film and had a good meeting with our kids and just talked about it and had all these kids in my office and said, hey, raise your hand if you scored a a receiving touchdown last year, and one kid raised their hand, and so, you lose kids like Cason Morgan, who was a stud, and a guy that could go get it, and so we're very inexperienced at those positions, but we have a lot of good young kids, and as well, we have some seniors this year that are stepping into those positions and filling those roles. But we have gotten a whole lot better this month of July, as well as obviously early in the spring and stuff. But I've seen a lot of growth, and that's one thing that I told our guys yesterday after we finished our last 7-on-7 is just how pleased I am to see the growth from spring to now and where we are in the secondary as well at the skill positions. But we've got a lot of guys that are stepping up in those roles. Some will be some younger kids, sophomores, juniors, but you got some guys that are going to step up in those positions as seniors as well and play big roles for us.
And I'll get your take too, Coach, but the players I want to ask, tell those that might not be aware that have maybe never been to Nashville, what a Friday night is like. I know you guys are kind of tucked away in that southwest corner right there. You got great facilities. So I want to get y'all's take, just what you would tell somebody that's not aware what a Friday night's like in Nashville.
The atmosphere is just crazy. I mean, you got to go to understand it, and it's something you definitely want to be at.
Well, it's a football town, so the whole team's there. The whole town is there to watch us play, and the excitement is crazy.
Kind of an example of what Nashville Friday night is probably go to an Arkansas Razorback game and just see the tailgating and how the whole community comes out. It's just, that's something that is kind of similar to Nashville.
Tucker said it, and all three of them were spot on. And Tucker said it. You just got to be from there to really understand it. And when any of you in this room talk about the community of Nashville or the town of Nashville, or if anybody talks about it, all goes back to football. People when they talk about the Scrappers, it goes back to football. Now that's not saying that other sports aren't good. We've got athletically every sport right now is very, very successful. But Scrapper football has been important there for a long time, and it's a tradition-rich program. But the facilities are unreal, and that's a testament to our administration. Our superintendent, Mr. Graham, and athletic director, Coach Nichols. They've done a tremendous job with just facilities and making sure that our kids have the nicest things in the state of Arkansas. And so, but Friday nights, you're going to get the community out there. The support's going to be there. You can always guarantee that the support's going to be there. And obviously, you get to the playoffs and you host a home playoff game and you got your playoff parade, something that's been going on since I played, and so pep rallies. I mean, they're still important, and there's going to be district-wide pep rallies, and you get all the kids over there. And so but there's nothing like a Friday night on the hill in Nashville. And I'll say this, and when we're on the road, we're going to travel, and our folks are going to go and they're going to support these dudes. I'm proud to say that I'm from Nashville, and I'm proud to say I'm a Nashville Scrapper.
As far as you've talked about some of the inexperienced groups that you've had, I know both lines, you've got a good bit returning, and there's some other spots. What are some of the areas that you feel a little bit more, you don't have to go necessarily into details, but just some areas that you feel a little bit more solidified?
We're pretty deep at running back. I think we've got about 30 of them. We've got, Tucker. We've got guys that we can rotate. Tucker's actually played through the spring and summer. He's been able to play a little outside linebacker and very productive for us there. But at the running back position, you got Tucker Dixon, and then you got junior Bryce Perrin. You got sophomore Trenton Northcross. You got junior Miles Hawthorne. You got some guys that if one needs a blow, the other one is just as productive. And all of them have their unique value toward our offense, and so I'm very, very happy with our running back room and where we are there. Our offensive line, I think we have really good size this year compared to kind of what we have been, but we've got we don't have a whole lot returning up there, but what we do have filling those positions are very productive players and very strong players, and we've got better size, I think, up front that's going to help us to be able to establish the running game. I think probably the strength of our whole team is probably our defensive line, with MJ and Braden, and then you take junior Jadon Williamson, that's, he's 6'3", 330 pounds, and moves very, very well, and he also plays offensive line. So, it's going to be one of those deals where he's one of our better offensive linemen with Jameson McIntosh and Luke Lacey and some of those guys, but he's one of those that may have to play a little both ways. And then you got Jalen Staggers at another position on the defensive line. We've got speed, we've got strength, we've got athleticism. And so, I really like our box on both sides of the ball. And you know as well as I do, you got to be able to run the football, you got to be able to stop the run. And so I think as we continue to go on through this August, we're going to continue to get stronger at those positions. But as well, I think we're going to be just fine at the skill positions.
Wrapping things up here, you and I got a chance to play in the original 4A7. It's always been loaded. I mean, just about year in and year out. Talked about it with Coach Fogelman, all the other coaches from that conference that we have here. Fountain Lake's a little bit older. Bauxite, I know it was a little bit down last year, but always Field's a competitive team. Malvern, obviously. Arkadelphia, the defending state champion. So no off nights, essentially.
No, it's a tough schedule. When you look at first game, Magnolia, this Magnolia non-conference game started back in, I think, 2022 maybe, okay? And Nashville hasn't beaten Magnolia in the past, 3 years. And I think if you go back and look at, me and Coach Nichols were talking about this the other day, going back and kind of looking at the history books and seeing, probably back in the 80s, I don't know, I'm going to say Magnolia's, the win-loss column, I'm going to say is in Magnolia's favor, and so that's a big game for us early on, just from a confidence standpoint, and being able to go over there and have success, and so, but then, I mean, you turn around 2 weeks later, you got to go to Dardanelle, who Thomas Thrash and Hootens have ranked number 1, and loaded with size. Obviously, Creed Vega at quarterback is a stud that's committed to Air Force, I believe. And so then after that week, you get a bye week, and then you turn around and it gets a little easier. You play the number 2 team, Arkadelphia. That's a joke, by the way. But then you go to Arkadelphia. And so, but I think in our conference, and in our first 5 events, 4 of them are on the road, and so I think in our conference, Fountain Lake, from what I can see on film, what I understand, they've got a very good passing game with a good quarterback and some good receivers, and Bauxite is got, I mean, they have really big linemen from what I can tell. They just got the one big kid from PA, and so they're going to be tough. And I know Coach Perry's doing a good job with those kids. And Malvern, always going to be a tough game every year. Tell you one you better watch out for is all them young pups from Haskell Harmony Grove. Coach Clift this morning at the Fieldhouse was showing me their depth chart from last year, and we were going over them. Sophomore, junior, and so it looks like every one of them are coming back, and they're running that dead T. Luckily, I coached in 2A for a little bit, so I may have an idea, how to stop something like that. Maybe not, but they're going to be tough. They're going to be gritty. And so, it's one of those that we need to take it one game at a time. And right now we're focused on getting better, getting ready for a scrimmage versus probably one of the top 5A teams in the state in Hot Springs Lakeside. And so it's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a fun journey.
All right. That'll wrap things up, guys. Really appreciate you making the trip up.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
All right, we're back with Coach Hicks and the Parker's Chapel Trojans. Coach, if you don't mind, just give us a brief rundown of last year and then the expectations for this year. Not necessarily win-loss expectations, but what you expect for your guys to play out on the field.
To begin with last year, well, first I want to say thank you for having us. It's crazy seeing this because I'm a young guy. I graduated 2016 and still feel like we didn't have this. And, like, seeing Nick name up here is crazy because, like, I remember seeing him in school and he was just going to whatever game taking pictures. It was like, that dude takes good pictures. He's at our game. That's cool. So it's awesome seeing all this now. So thank you for having us. As far as last year, new coach, I came in, got adjusted pretty late. I tell them all the time, I didn't even know their names first week. I was trying to sub in. Who is that out there on the field? No, I don't want him. Well, that is who you want. Oh, well, okay, we adjusted to that late in the season. So now, first year, I got an off season with our guys. We got a new office coordinator, Coach Talley from Junction. Great experience, smart man. I already love him. But having our guys under our wings has been great. Next year, we coming out expecting to compete. And it ain't always gonna result in wins, but we know if we go in each game and want to do our job, we're gonna have a good chance.
Well, tell us a little bit about the 4 guys that you brought, introduce them, and then their positions and a little introduction.
I got Weston Lewis, running back. He'll be a junior. I got Octavio Rodriguez. He'll be a senior. He's a DN. I got Ethan Haynes, our left tackle. He's a senior. And then I got our quarterback that's a sophomore, Landon Wiley.
Coach, I need a refresher. Was last year the first year since you bumped up from 8-man?
Yes, sir.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, so just talk about, obviously, back in 11-man, so the numbers have come up. That's the first thing that you think of. Talk about the buy-in that you've had from the kids and all that's happened since you've gotten back into the 11-man ranks.
It's funny because when you come back from 8-man, it's like, yeah, let's go back to 11-man, let's have fun. And then they throw you in with Prescott and Bismarck. So it's great being back. And numbers aren't changing for us anytime soon. We just are kind of like Sparta. Like, we're going in with 25 football players. It's like other teams. What you got? Well, I really like computer science, but I'm out here playing football. No, we got 25 football. And we're going out here with the expectation. Last year was more of a trial run. We saw what we need to get better at. We saw how strong we need to get, how fast we need to get. And now this year we're having expectations to be in 3A and compete.
From the players, we'll start over from you guys is right here. Just hearing Coach say those types of things with the progress of the team, what are some things that y'all have noticed as far as just team chemistry and improvements that you've made throughout the offseason?
Definitely the biggest thing for me has been the culture, the change. You know, every offseason I've had, even though I'm only a junior, has been pretty easy, pretty laid back. You know, I hadn't struggled at any practices, hadn't really been forced to come to any of the practices. This year, you know, I've been there. I've been putting the blood, sweat, and tears into it. It's been hard, long practices. And then on top of that, we feel more like a family than we ever have. You know, we've never felt this connected if we've always kind of only played for ourselves, only played to do what we want to do, and it hasn't been for the team. And that's probably the biggest culture change that we've had at Parker's Chapel.
For me, it's the way everyone's trying to mesh together and find out what's better for the team instead of for themselves. Instead of trying to go for touchdowns and getting mad at the other person for not getting their block, they're lifting them up and trying to see how everything plays out if they do everything right.
I just say it's like the attitude thing. Everybody's going out there wanting one thing, and that's to win. And that's what we're trying to get to, is just to win more.
I say it's changed a lot from, like, last year. We were so different in teams. Like, we went to so many team camps and 7-on-7s this year. We've grown closer as a team. Our offense and defense are driving. Other than that, we're just a lot better of a football team as a whole.
And Coach, I know this segment, here is about the Parker's Chapel Trojans, but you got a lot of really good football down in your area. I mean, you think about El Dorado, obviously Junction City, that your offensive coordinator's had some experience at. Strong 15 years ago won a state championship, and then a lot of just underrated ball down there. So just kind of talk about some people that might not be as familiar with Deep South football.
Yeah. First, I like to say Parker Chapel is a gold mine for football. It's just no coach has stayed long enough to build it and keep it consistently built. Because if you look, every new coach comes 3 or 4 years, they'll have an 8-win season, then they're gone. So Parker Chapel has a winning background. Just the coach needs to stay long enough to keep it. And Coach Ball, with Coach Talley coming over, I've grown a great relationship with Coach Ball. And me and Coach Ball have the same attitude, as in, it's no reason that our schools being so close together, we can't build something great. As in, we help them with film, and then they help us with film, and we just build that area as football. And being so close to El Dorado, El Dorado is going to compete every 3 or 4 years for a state championship. Junctions every year going to be a state championship. And so us catching up to them and using resources around us with coaches and everything.
Going back to the progression parts, you won, beat Foreman, and then things just didn't go so well after that. Has it been more so of just like, okay, yes, I know you want to win each game, but maybe is it more so about just breaking things down even simpler, winning the play, winning the quarter, winning the drive, then winning the quarter? Is there anything that you've implemented in regards to that?
As far as the season goes, I think it starts with me and Coach Talley. We got to prepare for the games like we want to win. It can't be, let's go out here and try to go out here and compete with the kids. Like, we got to go out here and have a game plan put together for a win. And that's where seeing our kids, having an off season with our kids, we have got better because we know what our kids can and can't do this off season. And going into last year, you forced to spread, speed, fast, and that's not what our kids are. We're smash mouth, run down your throat football team.
Yeah, definitely. How much pride do y'all take in being a smash mouth team? I want to get the players because we're in kind of a for the most part more of I guess you could say an air raid or just a passing type of football. So how much pride do you guys take in being able to just kind of line up and run the ball down and attempt it or just even run the ball down people's throat?
That's probably my favorite thing about football. I know when you look at me, you wouldn't think I like smash mouth football. You wouldn't think, I like to hit, but that's easily my strongest suit, and I love that about the team. It's a grit and a toughness that a lot of teams don't have, and I love that fact of us, and I think it's going to work out great for us throughout the year and throughout the season.
Every year I come to play football, the most thing I look forward to is just hitting people, so I feel like it's one of the best things that I like about Parker Chapel instead of just throwing it all the time.
I just like to pull. I like to pull for Wesson because if I know he's behind me and if I know there's a hole, I'll just go through the hole and I know he's behind me, so it'll be a touchdown.
Like Weston said, you might look at him and might be like, man, he don't like smash mouth football, and they'll call the run play and he'll get hyped in that huddle, and then you like, offensive live, y'all better be pulling. He gonna run you over when he comes through behind you. I mean, just like Weston said, that's one of our main parts of our game. We like to do it.
Along with the team leaders that you brought here with you, who are some other ones that we should watch for on Friday nights coming up?
I would say we start with our offensive line. I mean, it goes from Ethan Haynes to our left guard. We got a little battle with Peyton Bohannon and Willie Candley, and then center we have Braden Derrick, aka Big Head. I mean, Derrick is our anchor on that offensive line too. And we go to right guard, we got Caden Duft, and we got left tackle, we got Jaden Givens. I mean, our offensive line is our pride, and I can't say enough about our guys on the offensive line. Running backs, we got Weston leading the pack, and as a junior, but right behind him you got two great sophomores in Avion McDuffie and Austin Greer. So, I mean, these two are my only I only got 3 seniors on my whole team. So, I mean, you're looking for a smash mouth for a long time in Parker Chapel.
For the seniors, how important is it to you? Because, I mean, obviously, I know, you're looking to make strides from last year and everything, but, what are maybe some goals that you have for your last year now, just to kind of put the program back on better terms as you make your exit in May?
My goal really is to lead this defense into becoming a top 10 defense in the conference, top 5 defense in the conference, and make sure they have the schedule against us instead of just saying, oh, it's Parker Chapel. I want to surprise them this year.
I just want to leave little stepping stones for my underclassmen. They see me and they want to strive to be like me, because that's what I did. I was at 8th grade, and Peyton Bohannon's his older brother. I looked up to him, and I tried my best every day to be like him.
As we wrap things up here, is there any game in particular, whether it's one of the surrounding teams or just one that you're looking at in particular that you got circled that you're really looking forward to playing this year?
Smackover.
Buckaroos, all right.
Harmony Grove.
Smackover.
Smackover again.
All right. Guys, that'll wrap things up. Really appreciate you making the trip up.
Thank you.
A properly graded field is not only important for player safety, but also the field's health, and no company in the state matches the exceptional service and dedication like our friends at Athletic Field Service of Arkansas and Sherwood. From servicing all types of natural grass athletic fields that includes aerating, top dressing, and phrase mowing to a variety of residential projects, Jeremy Rice and his crew have you covered. They also offer an extensive list of infield renovation services. Call Jeremy at 501-416-1218. That's 501-416-1218 for your free evaluation, and check them out on Facebook or see what they have to offer online by visiting afsofar.com. Athletic Field Service of Arkansas, we got the dirt on your infield.
It's not just a house, it's a home, and it's part of the neighborhood and of course part of the community, and you want to build stuff that they'll take pride in.
Well, that's where they're making their memories.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where they're raising their families.
Without the bank getting us to that next step, we can't do it.
It's nice to be able to call someone at the bank and say, hey, you've worked with us for all these years. This is what we're thinking about doing. Can we pull the trigger on this today? Oh, my stars. It is just so much easier to bank with First Community.